Talents Unveiled. We've got Chris Evans. And I know you had a question that you want to ask Chris in terms of kind of videography.
What do you identify as? Not pronouns. But I mean, like,
he, him, I think.
video, like, everybody in the video world kind of like has a different title.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a good question. I mean, I would confidently now say producer director, because that's kind of where I shifted my focus, understanding that, not fully understanding, but understanding that like world enough that I want to pursue it. Because we all started as filmmaker, videographer, editor, shooter, right? And I did that for a decade. And
So explain what the difference is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a title. I don't know. Like,
What do you do differently now?
Yeah. So what I do differently
what
now
you
is
did.
I operate as a producer, director, as a production company. So I have my own production company. I basically, in a way, hire myself as a producer and director, but it gives me the opportunity to hire like you as a director or a producer, or you, and like we can collaborate on a bigger scale, because inevitably I want to do features and narrative and like productions that involve a lot of people versus me doing everything, because that's what I did for years.
Everybody starts off wearing so many hats. Where it's
Everybody.
like you're literally doing all the pre-planning, scheduling, bookings. Then when you on the production day, you are directing. You're actually the videographer using the camera. You're doing the lighting. You're doing everything, right? And then after, even in the editing process, there's like the culling of the footage, editing it, sound design, color grading, and production companies that have budgets use somebody different for all those tasks.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy how you have to start knowing all of that.
Yeah.
The way that, like,
So true.
yeah, the way I heard you say it basically is what you're doing now is you've now moved it to where you've scaled it, and you are kind of overseeing more than just being just the do all the time, right? There's probably still things where you are the do.
Yeah.
But there's the opportunity now to kind of outsource certain parts of your production, right?
Exactly. And I mean, there's pros and cons to that, especially now as the industry literally shifts to your iPhone. Like we can now shoot a movie on your, like you literally can do that. I'm about to do that. I'm going to attempt that. And like
With the new iPhone?
with the iPhone. Yeah. And
It's
you know,
so hard to like, what do you call it? Configure the iPhone. Like I've tried.
I'll give you the settings.
Really? Huh? Yeah. It's so hard to maneuver the
I'll
settings.
post a story and
Yeah.
I get, honestly, out of like, if I get like 6 replies, 3 of them are like, how'd you shoot that? What'd you shoot that on? I'm like, my iPhone. It's just because I changed the settings. You'd understand like frame rate and like that kind of thing, but most users don't. But now we have access to that technology, right?
So my Android is actually much easier to change all those settings. So like frame rate, ISO, all
You
that
just
stuff.
slide over,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
Right. But for some reason, when I was trying to help my girlfriend out with her settings, it was just so hard to find. It's like, hey, where's the button for this? And it's just not there.
Do you shoot on an iPhone?
Yeah. I do shoot a lot on iPhone. I mean, I haven't shot like bigger productions, but like I have done interviews and corporate stuff where I have like 2 cameras set up, and one of them's on ProRes on a 14 Pro Max, and it like matches. And it just pisses me off, but I love it at the same time, right? Because it's
Well, it
like,
makes it so much easier.
well,
like,
we used to be a niche. Like it used to be like, you know, videography was like kind of a niche thing, and like you had to, like no one had a drone, no one had a DSLR. Now it's like, oh, my buddy just picked up a DSLR. Now everyone has a drone. Everyone's a videographer. Everyone has, right? Social media's kind of elevated people to access creativity with tools that are like you can order on Amazon.
Yeah.
So what is the best cell phone on the market to shoot high quality video?
iPhone 14 Pro Max or the 15 Pro Max. And maybe I'm a shameless Apple sponsor, but I'm gonna they actually did send me the new phone. Like they send me it, so I'm gonna upgrade soon, hopefully.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I just got the 15 Pro.
oh, then you're ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I just
of
got the
game.
15 Pro, but I haven't had a chance to play with like any. And I moved up from a 12, so like
Oh, that's a jump.
That's a pretty big jump, I feel.
Because they're catering to filmmakers now. Like literally, like the last 2, and then like the last Apple whatever they had was all shot on iPhone. Like actually, the first time they did it all on iPhone, right? So that was a flex.
and
because
if you compare it, the two, you can't tell a difference. It's very difficult.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you have to have a trained eye. To
Yeah.
the general public, they'd be like, they both look great.
Yeah.
What do you look
Do
for,
you
right?
think
Yes.
Apple will fund a movie that has a big name actor in it, fully filmed on an iPhone at some point as a marketing campaign?
soon.
happen, yeah.
They just did a Olivia Rodriguez music video all shot on iPhone. Her newest single, all on iPhone. You can look it up. They're cool behind the scenes. But they like keep in mind, I'll go down like you understand this too, or anyone in video.
Yeah.
It's not the camera. Like as much as it is the camera, it's the lighting.
Oh yeah.
It's
He says that to me all the
it's
time.
the color of like what are we wearing and how is it gelling with the back. Like they're actually there's so much just me getting all bougie with like art direction comments, but it's the truth. Like and the more we shoot, the more you pick that up, I think.
How much goes into post-production though, right?
I'll be honest, bro.
A lot.
Lighting is so fucking hard. It is so hard. It just, we were talking about Flash.
Different.
Flash is frustrating because it's like, you think it's just as easy as pressing the button, it flashes and then ta-da, and it's like,
Blown out, red eyes, like you see all their like, yeah. No, it's lighting is for this, it's everything. That's why I was like, this is a good looking podcast because it literally is. Yeah. And it's got the warm tones, got the wood, it matches the like, come on, you guys got it, you got the look. Yeah. But it's light, it gets lighting.
I'll take credit. I put them two together.
There we go. Done deal. Yeah. It's a team effort. But yeah.
I have a good question for you. So I think with DJing, when you're teaching somebody, you got to teach them the rules, right? So you teach them the rules. This is how you beat match. This is how you read the crowd, right? And then as they start to advance now and they get better, the rules change from rules to guidelines. And then now your creativity comes in and the lines between the rules and the guidelines start to get blurry. So you can step out of that box to kind of start kind of making new innovative techniques, I guess, if you want to say that. So before you got here, we were looking at one of your videos. Okay. And when I was watching YouTube, they're like, don't let flares in your videos or whatever. And I saw a flare in your video, but it looked fucking amazing.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So I asked Paul, I'm like, yo, but you know, how come he has the thing? And Paul's like, it's a creative thing. So like, how did you find your style as a videographer?
I mean, the simplest thing is I'm a fan of movies. Like I'm a fan. I never saw it as a gimmick. I never saw it as like a way to make money. I never saw it as like a career. I just saw it as like, I love movies to the point when you're a kid, you buy all the dinosaur toys because you watch Jurassic Park, and then you buy all the spy kits because you watch James Bond. Everything I did was because of a movie. So like when I figured that out later, I was like, what else do I want to do in life? Like I just want to do whatever this is. So camera, right? So then you draw to the camera, but then the rules is true, but that would be the equivalent of like, okay, here's my iPhone. Like, why do I shoot it vertically? Why do I shoot it horizontally or whatever? Why do I press record? Why do I focus? Why do I like, once you learn that, I always like use the analogy of like fishing. Like, I feel like if you can master fishing, you just enjoy the process more than like the catch is the bonus. But everyone's so focused on the catch that they forget why, like the road trip to the spot, it's like a secret isolated spot and the weather's nice. And it's like, like you're with a friend or maybe you're by yourself, whatever, like, you know, that the journey over the destination has been, that's it. And then those movies you watch that have influenced all of us in different ways have so much depth because a director and a writer and a team of like-minded creatives came together and was like, this idea, this tone, this feeling is bigger than all of us. Let's cook it together. And then it like lasts forever. Cause like I'm still talking about movies from like when I was a kid that I'm like, that hit me. Yeah. Right. If that answers the question. So for me, I think I got to the point where the tool became muscle memory versus like, I have to think of the settings. I'm like, cause I did that for years. If I still do it, but then it's like, if I pull myself out of that mentality and I'm in literal flow state, that's where you want to be. Yes. Cause that's just like, you're letting go of your ego and expectations and you're just like feeling it. Yeah. And that sounds so cheesy, but I hear it, but I'm like, man, like it's the truth. Not enough
people talk about that though.
Well, because they haven't experienced it yet, maybe too, right? Because it's hard to talk about it unless you've done it. I've obviously felt it, so I'm going to be euphoric and explain like, get in flow state, everybody, but you have to get yourself to a point where you're able to.
It's artsy.
Yeah, but I think
artsy fartsy.
And I think the events industry is there's a lot of art to it in general. But that's something that is a bit of my pet peeve right now on social media. Every second ad is someone trying to sell you a formula to something, right? The formula on how to be a good videographer. The formula.
You can go down so many rabbit holes and just lose yourself. When I started too, it's like I was just using YouTube, and I learned I learned a lot of things the wrong way, and then I was like, wow. Yeah. I wish I just actually had a mentor or someone to
Sure.
kind of like
Yeah,
be
yeah.
like, this is wrong, this is right, go this direction.
And
Trial and
some
error.
of it's good, but
Some of it.
I think you have to take most of it with a grain of salt and kind of package together to get to your own personal flow state. To use that terminology, right? And that's really hard to do. But I want to come back to something that you were talking about the videos and. If we tie it back to social media, one of the revelations that I had, which is not super groundbreaking, I think everybody will tell you this, is that we're really moving away from, especially on like the Instagrams of the world, moving away from like photos to you almost have to have videos of everything that you do. And that's very difficult when you are in the events industry because your inclination is to always take a picture of something. Right? You're always like, okay, I'm going to take a photo, but then now I've moved to just taking micro videos of everything because now I know I have to stitch it all together and do a reel or something, right? Mm-hmm. Because that's what's going to be more evocative to like the audience, right? So that's a transition that a lot of, at least my competitors, I see some that have done it and they are the ones thriving. And then the ones that are still just doing still photos, they're the ones that don't get as much kind of interaction, right?
Yeah, everyone's appetite's getting like, they're getting bougier when it comes to their social media. So it's like pictures were enough before, and now it's like, nah, they want the pictures in the reel that are like,
I still think pictures are good, but it almost has to be like 80-20 now. Like 80% of your content should be like reels and
But it's also the algorithm that fucks with everything. It's like, you got to cater and feed the beast, and it's like, you got to do what that wants. And that's why people are moving that way too.
But it depends what your goals are, right? Like we talked about this on the last podcast, like vendors like us who really only care about local followers, the algorithms are important because like it will dictate whether it's getting pushed out to, the local viewers, but they're not as important as if you're trying to grow a global or North American brand, then you need the algorithms to work for you, right?
You have like a traditional story on like how you started with the weddings and stuff like that, but like.
So let's start there. Let's go back to the beginning.
Yeah.
Tell us your story. How'd you start? We were kind of dabbling in that. Like, how did you start? And
I mean, the easy answer is it started when I was younger. Maybe I'm one of the few people that like really like tied that into my childhood, but I really see it. Like I loved movies. And then I got older. I started going on like youth retreats at my like church and like bringing a camcorder and making like Jackass replica videos with my friends. And that was because I was, again, a movie called Jackass I loved, right? Yeah. Like,
are they still there?
There's some shit on YouTube, man. Yeah, there's a lot. If you dig deep, I don't delete anything, which I'm like now questioning a bit, but then I'm like, whatever, I don't care. I've never deleted like all my YouTube videos from like grade 7 to now, which I don't even, make
maybe
a
in
lot
a couple years, Jackass is going to offend people.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah.
I think it already is.
I'm assuming I'm canceled somewhere in someone's eyes. So I've accepted my fate. Yeah. So
Can we
it's
go on
like
one quick tangent?
Yes.
I have to ask you,
Okay.
what is your top 3 favorite movies? I know it's a tough
we
question.
were all thinking it.
Yeah.
I actually had this literal conversation and realization last night with a friend. And I think if I organically say them, this is what they would be. It would be in no particular order, Children of Men, American Beauty, and There Will Be Blood, which are very niche answers probably. But then I'm also going to include like Lord of the Rings series, Jurassic Park, Shrek 1.
Shrek 1, bangers after bangers after bangers.
You can't go wrong, right? Godfather Part 2, really bougie. But like, there's something about those 3 I just said that are like my top tier, like everything hits me in different ways movies. I don't know that's a quick shot
American
answer.
Beauty and American Psycho mixed up all the time.
Yeah. American Beauty had
Very
that
different.
that like very different. Had a very provocative movie poster that I remember as a kid being like, "What is that?"
I remember sneaking into a room with my boy to watch it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It was a weird. It's a weird one, but it's
one,
like weirdly just I don't know. It just hit me. I think it's just the writing and like maybe it's the motto of what I go by now, which is like I find beauty in everything, and I really do. Like,
and that's important. Like, that's why you're so in tune with the journey of getting the content. Like, it's not just like the end product. It's enjoy life. That's what you're doing, something you love, clearly.
Yes.
It's like everything about it you should like take in. People move too quickly to get somewhere, and then you're there and you're like, what the hell just happened the past 10, 20, 30 years? And it's like, just move slow.
You got to be present, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's like I just posted this the other day. Like presence is the present. I mean, that's again sounds bougie, but it's like the truth. Like I can't unsee that when I'm just like actually like not worried about the past or the future. I'm actually here right now. Like this is all that exists. Us on a podcast, and like why am I thinking about tomorrow? That I'm not here. Then I'm like everything just affects. You get affected.
Yeah.
So I always had that like enjoyment of being present. I think because in the 90s, like I'm a 90s kid, attention was focused very narrowly. Like you had to go to a theater to see a movie and you're not going to be on a phone. You're going to wait, like, you know, and then Dark Knight came out years later. And I'm like lining up to see that. Now it's like the conversation I'm having is like, oh, I already downloaded that on my phone, and like it's the new Christopher Nolan movie. I'm like, bro, what? Like, you know, the old me is getting offended, but yeah,
I feel that too. So like, what are you guys around the same age? How old are you?
I'm 30. I just turned 32, so I'm 91, baby. Yeah.
92.
92, nice.
87.
Nice.
90,
You got an 80s kid? What are you?
90.
90. Okay.
There you go.
You're fucking old.
Got a couple geezers in here. I'm just kidding.
What am I doing here?
And this young kid. Wow. You learned well, young Padawan.
So There Will Be Blood, Daniel Day-Lewis, one of the best actors
dude.
ever. I just have to say that. But what is your top 2 or 3?
Damn, that's a good question.
Like
Honestly,
Power Round. First that comes to mind. That's why I said
Matrix.
that. Wow. Oh, yeah, that would have been
Especially
mine.
when the first one came out, that was like revolutionary.
Yes.
like, dude, it's so like I can't
perfect
even
film.
comprehend like who came up with that.
Speaking of videography, right? Like those shots where she goes up in the air.
Oh,
that was like the first.
that was shot by like 50 cameras.
But that was the first time you had ever seen that in
Bullet
a movie,
time.
right? Yeah. And then now it's all over the place. But like, yeah, but
That was only one. Where are the other 2?
I'm just gonna go with that because like I never was into like I've obviously like grew up watching movies and whatnot, but like I didn't really think about this kind of stuff
porn
until
doesn't count,
recently.
That's why you're struggling.
Hey, you want to talk about 90s porn? That's dangerous, right? Yeah. The first time the PC's in the room, I'm really being
Kazaa
vulnerable.
or
man.
LimeWire, whatever you use.
That's what
Weapon of
ruins
choice.
all the guys' lives, though. So, yeah.
I'm from the 80s. I'm born in the 80s, so like
VHS.
you had to wait for the shit to download overnight.
Yeah, exactly. On
Like,
LimeWire.
hit download and then wake up in the morning and be like, yes, I got a still photo.
Answer your question because I'm excited to answer too. So I want to hear yours. What are your top
No,
3?
you go for it.
And what comes to mind first? Because if I think about it, it'll take 10 hours, but that was the 3 that came to mind.
So for me, Tenet.
Ooh.
I love that movie just because it mind fucked me so much when I watched it. I had to go watch YouTube videos and be like, And even to this day, when I watch it again, I'm like, I'm always picking up something new. I also, I hate when people are like, you gotta watch Scarface. The ones that like kind of have that groupie love. But I will say one movie that actually lived up to the hype that was, I think it's Shawshank.
Ooh, Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, that was pretty good. And the last one is Hateful Eight. I really enjoyed that.
Tarantino.
Yeah. Yes.
That was a banger.
Yeah.
You see, they're also like when you're saying them, like, yeah, that too. Like,
Yeah.
it's like the hardest question. What's your favorite movie? It's like, what's your favorite pizza? It's like,
Basically, whatever comes to mind first.
And my honorable mention is the first Spider-Man Into the
Oh,
Spider-Verse.
dude, yeah, like the one I grew up with. I hate how they keep redoing it and redoing it and redoing
But you're
it.
talking about Into the Spider-Verse, which is the cartoon one.
Yes.
that was
first one.
crazy.
Yeah,
man.
the first one was amazing. Before they, like, you can tell Marvel's kind of gotten their claws on this last one that got out.
Oh, I
and
didn't
it's-
see it.
Yeah.
Do you want to answer or do you want me to finish mine?
Finish yours and then I'll answer.
Her. Have you seen that? Okay. Dude,
Joaquin Phoenix. Come on. That's an incredible movie.
Yeah.
Spike Jones, director, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, great movie.
Lee?
Spike Lee.
And I'll add an animation in there because you did.
Yeah.
Ice Age, but
That
in
is a
Polish.
banger. Oh, really?
What?
Yeah, so
I heard about this.
I
actually.
discovered that like, because I'm Polish, I speak Polish and I understand it. Yeah, it's not just
Last
like,
name Avonsky. Evan's short from Avonsky.
we might be cousins, long lost cousins.
Adopted into the Polish family.
So like just something about cartoons in Polish, they
Okay.
word their sentences in a way that just like comes off with way more humor. And like my whole family discovered this, and we'll download the Polish versions for like cartoon animated movies.
That's so. I
and
love
it
that.
just like I don't know what it is,
Just the language.
but it's hilarious. Just the language, yeah, just hits different.
So everyone that understands another language should probably do that because it's an option. Because most of them have like dubbed over. That's interesting. I like that answer.
Let's hear it.
Yeah.
Joel, you're up.
Yeah, so for me, like the way I would define like my favorite movies are the ones that like I could just watch it over and over again.
Okay.
Right? So my number one would probably be Gladiator.
Okay. Super long.
Yeah,
Very good though.
it's so good. I could watch it so many
Very good,
times. Number two would probably be Braveheart.
For real. Never watched it.
Really?
Yeah, heard a lot about. Yeah, it is meaty.
Yeah.
Dense movie.
Yeah, and then number three, I'm gonna go with the groupie love. Like I love Scarface. I just love it.
Oh, okay.
It's
Get
such a
those
good movie.
man movies.
Yeah, and then and
real though.
yeah,
I like that. I
and
like
then
that.
my honorable mention is Seven.
Ooh.
Yeah,
What's 7 again?
yeah.
Oh, dude,
Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman.
Okay, yeah.
What's in the box?
Yeah, what's in the box? Come on.
What's in the box?
That was an incredible 90s horror. Like, and then Saw 1 actually is up there for me.
Yeah,
That was the
yes,
biggest twist I've
yes.
ever seen in a movie.
Yeah.
Ever. And I was like, whoa.
I also missed another big one. Tombstone is another big one. that I love.
Interesting.
What's the other Brad Pitt one where it's kind of like a whole mind fuck at the end of it?
Fight Club.
Fight Club.
Yeah,
That's a classic. That's just, I just assumed that's on my top
Yeah.
list. But
Yeah.
yeah, we like those movies.
I'm starting to see that those films are coming back now, which I'm so happy about because while I love Marvel, for a while there, it just started to get like out of hand. It just everything being a superhero movie, and you started to lose track of like Tom Hanks is one of my guys. Any Tom Hanks movie, I'd line up at the theater to go watch just because it gives you a break from like the superhero movie type stuff.
I hate the trend of remakes in Hollywood right now. Like everything is not original. It's like a remake of something else, of something else, of something else. It's kind of like what's going on in the music industry. Nothing is original, right? So
There's a loss of identity, and like it's like we're in limbo. And I think people are starting to like go like over here and then like here, and it's like, oh, that's edgy, that's different. Oh, that's and it's like, but it's not allowed, or it's not what we're supposed to do. But it's like that's. I think Tarantino in a podcast said it one time where he was like saying how every decade there's like waves of cinema where like the 70s was like grindhouse, like the most debauchery you'll ever see. And then the 80s was like, yo, we gotta chill. It's like family friendly, like Back to the Future. There's a hero that wins. Like there's actually there's like a thing. And then 90s got edgy again. It's like Silence of the Lambs, like won Best Picture, and everyone's like, what? And then 7, and it got dark, and then ended with Matrix, American Beauty, and Fight Club in the same year. And then 2000s kind of got, then we got Gladiator, then we got like Lord of the Rings, then we got Harry Potter.
Yeah, like
and then now,
sci-fi
then
shit
2000,
started,
then
yes.
like, then even for comedies, I was like, nice. Comedy's a whole other thing because comedy is the closest thing to the truth, in my opinion, and horror too. So it's like the same coin, just different sides. So like comedies were edgy in the 90s and 2000s. And then now they're all like, oh, cute and.
What was the last good comedy?
Exactly. What was the last movie you laughed at?
Yeah, it's same,
super bad.
Yes, that's one of my favorite movies ever. That movie.
Super bad is one of the last ones where like I remember just fucking busting a gut in the theater.
Same. I physically did the like off the chair maneuver.
Oh yeah,
I was like laughing on
in
the
the
ground.
theater.
Yeah.
Like I remember that. And I'm old enough that I went to go see the first Scary Movie in theaters.
That's sick.
Yeah, and then that was like when that first movie came out. They did all the spoofs after that one, but when Scary Movie 1 came out, it was hilarious. Yeah, it was so good.
Dude, going to the theater was so much better back in the day. Back in our
There was
time.
purpose to going. Whereas now it's like, why?
No, it's like I'm just on my couch.
Well, you know what was cool about it? There was no one in line that was on their phone. To your point, everyone was present, enjoying that moment, whether it be being in the line, getting your popcorn, waiting in the seat. You had to talk to each other. You had to just be like with your group, with your friends, and like hanging out, right? Now, even when you're in groups, everyone's like pulling out their phone all the time, right?
They're checking their ex's Instagram. They're doing an email for tomorrow. They're not watching the movie with their friends. They're not present. See, it's like the
Or
pattern.
they're trying to show people, look at my friends.
Yeah. Or like I'm here because this looks cool, and hey, like we do this for a living, and I'm like used to posting what I'm doing, but then like we know, like deep down, you can still enjoy the moment. And you don't have to like upload 50 stories. You can maybe upload like 5. Or,
You know what I did last week? I got this idea from a buddy, photographer Eric, but we were at a wedding together, and he's like, you know what I do at the end of the season? I take my RV out and I just edit while camping. I'm like, bro, I took that to like,
it's a perfect combination of presence and like purpose.
I
Right?
borrowed my buddy's trailer and went out up north for like 2 weeks and like set up, me and my wife worked together. So we both set up our computers and everything in the trailer. and just like being surrounded, just like you were so relaxed and you're just able to focus.
Yeah.
It was like the best
Bro,
idea.
there it is. Like,
Yeah.
I think we just coined like the next big saying: presence plus purpose equals progress.
there you go.
Well, that's really good.
Wow, did you just come up with that?
Yeah, I did actually.
Boom. Put on a t-shirt.
I did.
Heard it here first.
You heard
You can buy our merch online.
Yeah, I'd buy a hat of saying that.
Put it in your
Yeah.
next movie.
Done. That's the ingredient.
The question I was gonna ask you is, do you think that? So obviously, you guys are judged by the end product, right? Being directors and stuff like that. But do you almost like lose when people don't see the blood, sweat, and tears that goes behind making the product? Like, I never felt the guilt when I was downloading those movies and not understanding that like this guy's putting in X amount of not even hours, days, you know what I mean, to give this finished product.
Like your documentary.
Well, like I could have this documentary. I have this idea. I've been working on it for 5 years. It's sent a message to me. Maybe it goes on Netflix and then like a couple thousand people watch it. That was cool. It's like 3 stars. Next. Like that's what it like. That's where we're at. Like we're at a point where if I put my energy into over analyzing the algorithm and the outcome, I've already set myself back, because it's like now I'm doing it with intention for quite literally other people versus like a release within me that I just need to do. And once you get to that point of like, I'm not going to get paid $1 and no one's going to see it, but I'm still going to do it. That right there is probably what you want to do with your life. And that's just where I'm at. Like, I'm like, I don't really care. And I'm not sitting here like saying I'm making these like Scarface level things or videos or music videos. I'm just like, I'm enjoying it. I'm blessed to be doing it. And I've done some cool stuff, but it's like, the cool thing is this, like meeting people and then like clicking with like some sort of like-minded purpose or value. And then like, then the bonus is we just did a project together, and the bonus on top of that is we got paid, or maybe it's like it broke even and that's a bonus. Like,
At least you're not losing.
So I think that's an interesting thing that I just kind of started thinking about. So back in the Blockbuster days, so you remember how there was like the premium movies, like the new releases, right?
Yeah.
The Hollywood flicks. And then you had all the B-rated stuff. And you'd like invariably, it was like a, rent 3 for the price of whatever 2, and then you'd go get a B movie, right?
Bro,
So there
Jumbo
was,
Video too? Come on.
yeah.
Popcorn.
There was a
Yes.
but at that point there was a market for these like lower quality, like so maybe you had like a big name actor that was washed out or whatever, like a Chuck Norris, like at the end of his career or something, right? Yeah. And you'd rent those movies, right?
Yeah.
But now, what's interesting is that those movies are still getting made, and they make their way onto these different streaming platforms. But there's so much more volume of content now, even at the film level. Like, what's I wonder, maybe with you being in the film industry, you have a hypothesis, but like, what's your, why do you think production houses are still funding those kind of movies?
I think like Disney, Paramount, like there's like the big dogs that still own the attention. It's all attention. Like how many views? It's attention. How many people are like, how many people are watching Brad Pitt or Leo? It's attention. Marketing is attention.
Yeah.
Like, I just think we're in this, again, a time of abundance in technology and accessibility, that why not come out with 50 different Disney shows about Star Wars? Because like they can. Yeah. And because everyone now has access to Netflix and Disney. Oh, thank you. Wow, look at that.
So I didn't notice that over there. I thought you were just going
No,
empty-handed.
I was like waiting to be like, I'm going to open another one, then another one. It's gonna get wild, but no,
That's what you get when you come onto this podcast.
Experience.
Hydration.
It's not just a podcast, it's an
You get
experience.
service.
Done. On to the next.
and
Cheers.
not even from the guy that owns the market.
Yeah. Thank you for that. But yeah, I think it's the same thing. It's like quantity over quality. Like, I don't know. I just think it's flashier now than ever. It's just like everything's hyperactive. It's like hyper injection of stimulation versus like these movies are coming out. Like, guys, remember Much Music?
Yeah.
MTV. You'd have to run home from school, top 10 countdown. You'd have to watch the Beyonce video, the Green Day video, the Eminem video to get to like, I don't know, the Nelly video that was #1 that week. So you had to watch every genre. You didn't have the option not to. You did, you could just not watch it. But we all did.
Yeah.
So you grew up with concentrated attention. Now it's like this. It's like surround sound, 360 attention. So everyone's focus is everywhere at every given time versus like curated direction. And I think that's just what we're feeling now in like everything. Like it's just with technology, with media, with art even. But then the irony of art is like it's a release and it's present and it's like the people the actual artists are like the ones like the Picassos and the Steve Jobs and the Kanyes and the like the you know I don't know, like any director like Christopher Nolan, like they're just like they're so focused on a bigger task than just making a movie.
So and I guess where I was going with my question is like when producers and like everybody involved in the production of like a B or a C level movie, is it more of like a training ground where that's where you cut your teeth and you got to do these productions to kind of get, you know, cut your teeth as a cinematographer, as a guy that does the splicing in the back, as, you know, all that kind of stuff, right? And it creates like an industry almost to do those things. Is that why there's still kind of those types of productions? Or is it everybody trying to create the next Sharknado? Where we know we know
Surprised that hasn't
It's
come
a
on
good
any of
question
our,
though, because you definitely
movies.
see it.
because you know the guys are like, okay, this is like got a limited budget, like we don't have any big name actors, but we got fucking sharks and hurricanes. Maybe this will fucking work, right? You know?
So are you asking kind of like why production companies are
Still investing money in like B and C level productions.
in indie productions?
Yeah.
I would say like, okay, I guess we have to figure out what you define indie or small town or small vibe as in terms of a movie. But like for A24, for example, they're like a production company that specifically took risks on directors and films that no studio would touch because it was like this is not part of our box, our formula, right? So I think there is a bigger market than ever for that, and they're just they can invest less and then get more return. Like a lot of the best picture movies in the last couple of years have been like indies, like Moonlight.
Good movie.
Dude, yeah, Moonlight was an incredible film. I was a big La La Land fan, so I was a little bitter. I was like, come on, but like, but like that movie was indie, man, and it was a different movie. Like you hadn't seen that, and they crushed it.
So that's the reason. But like there's a difference between those kind of indie movies, but you know when you're making a shitty Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. Right?
I know exactly what you're talking. The ones that look like they belong on CW Network.
You're talking like the like Hallmark movies.
Yeah.
What? Oh yeah.
Like
yeah.
like the ones that you would rent at Blockbuster, and you're like, this is JCVD way past
Right.
its
I
prime,
think
there's a market
but I'm
for
still,
that, though.
I'm still gonna rent.
I think
this,
there's a
right?
market.
There is a big market for that.
I think
People like the
cult
sappy,
classics.
classic,
Yeah.
like cheesy acting, cute looking cast thing. Like that's just like it's like a formula that just can't.
High School Musical.
That's big production, dude. That's big production. Yeah.
The other slapper. There's another one. The Pitch Perfect.
But how does that not
Yeah.
just get? I guess my question with the volume nowadays is how do those movies not just get buried by like the relatively decent quality like big production house movies, right? Like you think of like when you log into Netflix or Amazon Prime or, you know, Disney Plus or whatever, if you've got like a B or a C rated movie, that's maybe buried somewhere in that library, and who's actually watching that? And then there's a production house that made a decision to throw money at that. And it makes you question like why are they even doing that?
It's an investment. I think the movie industry has always been like a gamble. It's been like a fun gamble. Like you can not have anything to do with movies and like you're a wealthy millionaire and you're just like, I want to be a producer. It's like, great, give us $1 million. You own that percentage. And then if the artist, the director, writer does something good with it, that's your movie. Like when you watch the Oscars, the best director can win something, but then when the best picture comes up, it's the producers and there's executives. So it's like, it's honestly, man, it's like if you have money and you like anything about the movies, that is very prevalent right now. Because that's why you're getting these like $1 million indies, $2 million indies are ending up on Netflix because they just can. And they afforded a cast member that's notable. It could be a C-lister, but it's like, oh, that guy's from that show. And like when I'm scrolling through Netflix, some girl who saw that show is going to click on it because it's the cute guy from that show. It's a good investment. So even though it was $1 million budget and one of the, you know, so it really is
like
a game.
quarter of the budget has went to that one actor.
Yeah, seriously,
Which is crazy
that's a thing.
That's a low budget.
I think there's
I know,
also
trust
too
me,
like
I know.
there's also a hardcore fan base who like I know we think you probably are a real movie lover, but like for guys like us, where we love movies, there's another like level where like all they're watching like is just the really bad ones. If the IMDb score is like over 7, they don't want to watch it. You know what I mean? Like,
the Rotten Tomatoes rating says about whatever. Yeah, it's a whole ecosystem. Like there's fans, there's like the big dogs, It's just like a whole. It's just a facade. I don't know. It's just like it's interesting. It's such a unique industry.
Because actually, you know, the Spider-Man that I brought up, the Into the Spider-Verse, that movie went straight to DVD.
What? No, it was in theaters.
No, it was not. Yeah. The first one was, I swear.
Wait. The animated Into the
animated one, Into the Spider-Verse.
Are you sure? That was in theaters, 100%.
In theater, was it?
Yeah.
100%. Really?
100%.
That was a big, yeah.
And that was actually like a big
But there's so many Spider-Mans, we don't even know where. It's a Spider-Man meme right now. It's live. No, it wasn't. Yeah, it was. This is real.
Okay, so how I found that movie out was I was just on YouTube because I like to look up best movies for 2023 that are not
this
like...
guy's like, I never heard about this. This was a straight to DVD.
I see what you're saying.
Whichever ones are not like super, like not the top grossing ones, okay? So, and I saw this movie and I'm like, Into the Spider-Verse, what the hell is this?
I'm pretty sure it was a freaking big box office.
I think it just kind of got steam after
so.
okay, you know what? Dune made it to the theaters, but I heard Dune wasn't actually supposed to get a sequel. But because it did so well...
Dune was garbage. I hated it.
Oh, you didn't like it?
Wow.
Right?
No, Dune had to get it. I feel like it had to because it's based off a big book and an 80s movie.
What I heard was that they were really bad back then. So people were kind of like...
Original Dune's wild.
Yeah.
It's
I heard
funny.
the book's better.
Book's great.
Yeah.
Like, I'm talking about the most recent Dune. I did not like it.
That's crazy.
It's just like an experience, I guess. Have you seen the original Dune? Because there's 2 tiers of thing. It's like it was a book. It was a very big book, and then it became a very funny, not funny, like very cult classic. Like maybe it was bigger than cult classic. It was like a big movie, Dune, like the original Dune.
Who was in it?
Timothy Chalamet, but that was directed by Denis, the guy who did like Arrival and Prisoners.
Arrival wasn't bad.
Arrival's a great movie.
Good, yeah.
I'm getting Dune and Stargate mixed up.
Okay, that's like cheesy Star. Yeah.
That's that stuff he's talking about, like the
Stargate. The original Stargate had Kurt Russell in it, I think.
Okay.
You know the guy from Stargate, the black guy with the I don't know. He's the guy that voices God of War.
So now you're fucking talking
Kratos?
Star Trek.
Yeah, Kratos. Yeah.
But you're talking Star Trek now.
No. That you're right.
Oh, sure.
There's
Potato,
a black guy
potato.
in Stargate. Seriously.
Hell yeah. Let's go.
Yeah. He's Kratos in the newest one, Ragnarok, that just came out.
Oh, The Voice. Nice. Actually, they are going to be making a God of War movie, like live action.
Okay, I'm waiting for that. That was one of my favorite videos. I'm a
Me
PlayStation
too.
for life,
Yeah, me
by
too,
the
me
way.
too. Yeah, me too.
Represent,
Yeah.
dude. Let's
and
go.
God of War is like
Xbox? It's okay. It's okay.
Okay, to
Playing
be
with
fair-
Skittles as buttons is cute. That's fine.
Oh, the
Back in the
PlayStation
day.
control is awful. It used to be. It's better now, but it used to be awful.
I have to ask you this
Okay,
as
ask
like a film buff and
Okay.
like. Have you seen The Last of Us?
I was
series?
about to just jump ahead and say, are you going to ask me about The Last of Us, which was incredible.
But the best episode of any show I've ever seen in my life is that episode with the guy from the comedian guy from the 2 gay couple.
Oh, man.
Best episode I've ever seen in my
Really?
life. Of anything.
Really?
I was like,
It's a bold statement. I like that.
honestly.
I like that.
Do you like?
Oh, no. By the way, I played the games religiously. And I bought a PlayStation 4 during COVID just to get The Last of Us Part 2. That was a reason I updated I'm like delayed in gaming. I'm still playing Red Dead Redemption 2. Great game. Yeah. Dude, I got this ring. This is my Lamar Taylor. He was in he's in Last of Us. He's the brother that
that's dope.
in the 3rd episode.
That's dope.
But no, it's just sick. This is all connecting, man. It's crazy. That's a cool that show's nuts. That show's really,
What's
really
the
good.
name of the actor from that show? He plays that very like
I've never seen The Last of Us, so I don't
Dude,
know.
watch The
I feel
Last
like
of
I've
Us.
watched it, but I'm trying to remember.
Anyways, there's this one.
Is it on Netflix?
It's HBO Max, so it'd be on Crave, I think.
Yeah, I didn't watch it.
It's
It's
probably
really good.
in
Based
my
off the video game.
in my opinion, it's the best post-apocalyptic show.
This guy? Buddy right there.
No, that's the main actor.
Oh, let me see that. Let me see it.
Oh,
Pablo Pascal, who's all the rage right now. Of
course.
He's
Yeah,
like the number one like actor in Hollywood, I would say right now. Like
it's up there.
yeah, Pablo Pascal.
Oh, I started watching The Last of Us.
Played the Mandalorian.
Oh, yes. I was about
So that episode, why did you like that episode so much?
Because it was so different, right?
Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah.
And usually gay couples are shown in such a different way, but the entire episode was focused on it. And I'm trying to think of the name of the actor that plays the one guy
From Parks and Rec.
from Parks and
Yeah,
Rec.
I know who you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
That was a big episode, and it's based off. If you played the game, it's just based off like a moment where you go into the house and it's the aftermath, and there's a note and you can pick up the note and read it. It's like a love letter, but they took that and wrote it into a whole episode. That's why I was like, that was really well done.
yeah, and like I'm not gonna lie, like I fucking had a tear at the end of that episode. I was like, wow, this was like so well done. Like I left that episode and I was like, you know, when you're talking about those moments, those things that like really hit you. I was like, damn, that was so well done. Whoever directed this fucking episode was unreal.
Shot in Calgary. That whole show.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff being filmed in Toronto too.
Dude, Toronto's the spot. It's in Hollywood North is like Toronto. I guess Vancouver too, but like,
So Last of Us, you know how they get all those like, I would imagine like the shots that are up close are actual buildings that are like, or maybe it's like sets that they've built.
And then the CGI in the back.
And
type
CGI
thing.
in the back. Is
It's
that
a hybrid probably. Yeah. Because they it's just like desolate backgrounds and backdrops out there.
It's so well done.
Yeah. I love that show, dude. You guys
Anyways,
can cast me up on these shows and movies talking. It's a movie podcast now.
Let's go back to you.
Oh, sure, whatever.
Sorry, wait. Last movie question. So with Disney,
But seriously,
with Disney going down right now,
Down.
is this in the sense of like how they've been getting a lot of like no one's watching their stuff anymore. Like Marvel's right now, the latest one is about to flop. Yeah, Disney Plus is flopping. Disney's just,
really?
Yeah, guys.
I just assumed they're just taking over the world at this
no,
point.
no,
Mickey
like-
Mouse is back there just
No,
like
especially
Wizard
if
of
you're
Oz,
like like into like the Marvel universe and stuff like that. Like people like Secret Invasion, terrible flop. Nobody watched it. The Marvel's TV show, another flop. People didn't like that.
they're running out
Moon
of
Knight.
gas, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what I was gonna say is that good news now for kind of
good movies.
directing exactly on the come up that are not superhero films.
I
Like,
hope so. It just means the attention because like even Disney Plus has like shows that are not like when I think Disney, you don't think like half the shows that are on there.
Yeah.
Like there's so many good shows that I'm like, where is that on? And the only thing I don't have is Disney Plus. Like The Bear. Have you watched The Bear? Great show.
I've heard. I keep
Yeah,
hearing
but it's
about
on
the show,
Disney
yes.
Plus. It's like a cooking like
hearing about it,
crazy
yeah.
show. But it's anyways, it's just like I think everything's getting all gelled together with all the subscriptions. We're going kind of in a full loop of like back to cable, but it's like controllable cable because I'm paying like the same amount that I would have paid back in the day for like cable, but I can control it. It's interesting to me. I have like all the subscriptions and I'm like, wait, I'm paying
But
80
the
bucks a
interesting
month.
thing is like the thing with cable and how they made their money is you had commercials that were plugged in and then they'd get paid.
Commercials kill me.
But they'd get paid.
I cannot watch anything with commercials anymore.
Well, YouTube's flooded.
No, but you know what?
That's our industry direction.
It's coming back.
Yeah.
It's coming back. No. You know what they're doing? What? They're doing now bands of pricing. And Netflix is doing it too.
Oh yeah, true.
So
No
what they're doing
commercials.
now is they're saying, hey, you were used to Netflix forever at like $10 a month or whatever. If you keep paying $10 a month, you're going to get ads. But if you pay $14 a month, you're not going to get ads.
Isn't it at like $20 now?
Whatever.
It is. It's unreasonable. I don't even subscribe to
But
those
that's what
guys
all these providers are going to do is they're going
Kind
to
of
create
like
these
YouTube.
bands, right?
YouTube and YouTube Premium. Same
Because
thing.
what they're
None of the
doing
ads
is
come
their
out.
businesses, they're trying to monetize, right? They're like, oh, can we get people to pay a little bit more? And even if they don't, then we're going to get money from the ad base. Yeah. So they're going to just make money hand over fist either way.
It's money in, money out. Yeah. It's just more ways to like gain dollars and get attention, right? That's where we're at.
So let's go back to you and the events industry and kind of.
We got past how you even started. This is gonna be a long podcast.
No, but where I think
This is gonna be how the whole night's gonna go. We're just gonna keep veering off.
we can always bring him back after he makes his iPhone movie.
Oh, there you go. See how that goes. Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the questions that I had for you and I wanted to ask, because I know that you've done some pretty high profile stuff, like working with Loud Luxury, for instance, etc.
London locals.
Yeah, exactly.
They used to not be high profile.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're watching.
Yeah.
Remember.
So my question for you is, what was the moment for you that was kind of the big step where you're like, okay, I'm moving from doing kind of local stuff to this is like a little bit bigger? Did it happen just kind of organically? Did it happen by accident? Was it deliberate? Maybe talk us through that transition period, because I'm sure you kind of lived that transition where you kind of found yourself in a spot where, okay, I'm doing some higher profile stuff now.
Yeah, I have a very specific 2 examples of that. Like I went from high school making fun videos when I made I played sports for 2 years and then I was like, I'm more of a drama kid. I have more fun filming. Started filming the sports, made a video. They premiered it in the school, like for the assembly. That moment I was like, damn, this is what I want to do. Flash forward, did weddings. Weddings for 2-3 years back in like 2000, like 11, 12, 13. Yeah. And then I personally was like, I don't want to do weddings. 2013, I had a friend who's a YouTuber from London. Shout out Mike Tompkins. He said, Pitch Perfect. Acapella God, man.
Yeah, dude, that was wild when it
he's the
came
OG.
out.
He's from here.
Yes, he is. Yeah,
He was on Pitch Perfect.
Yes,
he
he
did
was,
like the
yeah.
promo for like the whole thing, and
Yes.
he did the voice and mouth beatboxing and everything.
Yeah.
He went to my church. Like we went to the same
Oh,
youth
that's
group, and he was a
crazy.
youth. He was like a couple years older, and when you're
Yeah.
younger, like
What church was that?
North Park.
Okay, North Park, okay.
represent. Haven't been in a while, but love you guys.
Represent.
And it was like that. I remember buying a DSLR, like, and I was a fan. He had uploaded a video on YouTube. This is like OG YouTube, like 2010, like when it was just like, and he made the Party in the USA cover, and it was like he duplicated himself, and it was like this amazingly edited and produced video. And I'm like, dude, I'm a huge fan. I just bought a camera. If you need any video work, let me know. And he's like, yeah, come over next week. I have a video I want to shoot. I'm like, sick. So I shot a Dynamite Tile Cruise cover that then the next week he edited, and it went on the Ellen show. And I'm like, I just bought a camera, and I'm like, yo, what? And it's like next week on Ellen, Mike Tompkins, and it's my video. And I'm like, wait, that was crazy. But it was never like where it's gonna end. Like it was never part of the, you know what I mean? Yeah. It just was like the bonus. And then he blew up, went out there, worked with Timbaland, and like that happened. And then that was when I was like, oh man, this was fun. Like this was spontaneous. It was like I enjoyed making a video with him, an artist. So I started transitioning out of the weddings because I couldn't, in my head, I was like, I didn't want to commit to like a year in advance. Because as you know, it's like, what are you doing next September in 2025? And I'm like, I guess your wedding. Like, and again, I get it. But then for me, I was like, I had that taste, and I was like, I want to just be open. No commitments in a way. And then he ended up going on tour with the Jonas Brothers in 2013, and he hits me up like 2 weeks. He's like, hey, what are you doing in 2 weeks? I'm like, I have 3 weddings. He's like, do you want to come on tour with the Jonas Brothers and like film for me? And I'm like, yes, hold on. And
So what the hell did you do?
so dude, I had 2 of them were like my friends, and like, and I just explained the situation. I was on this like, and they both were like super supportive and like, dude, just like do it for sure. And I got everything covered. I was supposed to DJ a wedding. Yeah, I know. I did a little DJ thing back in the day. And the other 2 I was supposed to film, and I got it covered. And then I went on this tour, met them in Detroit, and then I went like all through North America, like driving, like actual tour bus. It was crazy.
How long was it?
It was like the tour?
Yeah.
I guess like a whole month, honestly, like 3-4 weeks.
So you were on a bus with the Jonas Brothers doing like.
Well, they had their tour bus. We were in this like Mercedes Springer van, which was pretty ballin' too at the time. It was like a tour manager, Mike and his wife, and myself. And at the time, again, like social media was like pretty fresh, so I was doing like mini docs for YouTube, and the videos are still up. And it was so fun, man. It was just like this like.
You were kind of the behind the scenes.
Yeah, I was
right?
documenting. My idea was to do like a 3 or 4 part series, and then like we would bunch together X amount of shows in video 1, X amount of shows in video 2, and then put it on YouTube. So we did that.
What's your production company called, and how can people find you?
Right now, it's called Sevens Studio, and my name's Chris Evans. I totally wasn't planned, but yeah, that's like the production house now that I'm working under / operating as, but I'm itching to direct and create my own stuff. So
Yeah.
But yeah, that kind of went into this whole, I don't know. It started from there, and then I started doing like the event stuff at the same time in London with Premier Life and all the DJs, and that was like the early days of EDM when it
That's
was
when,
like
it was a best
bro, you
era.
remember,
It
you
was
were
the
there.
best era for music, and
It
just playing
was,
and,
but especially for DJs, because it was like, I remember getting like one of the guys from Pure Life was like, hey, can you go film this DJ at Jim Bob's? And I'm like, yeah, well,
I was trying to remember what toboggan used to be called, and you just brought it back.
Jim Bob Ray's.
I'm like, yeah, his name's Tim Berg. And I'm like, cool. That was Avicii, you know.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was like when Levels came out first.
Before Levels,
Even
he was
before,
here.
it's
and then
like-
everyone loved London, Ontario for the EDM scene. Like all the big dogs now. I remember going to like 2010. Skrillex sold out a show in music hall
Yeah, dude, I was there, bro.
with Zed and Porter Robinson.
Yeah.
Yo, and they were like, I just remember Zed just standing. I remember having a full conversation with him because he had played.
You're right about that.
Yo,
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
just saying, we had the most
Now that
crazy,
you even say that, I'm like, oh shit, these guys are big time guys now.
big.
Oh my God. Yeah,
That was
good
like
point.
one of my first raves I ever went to. I go with a friend, and Skrillex went on, and we fucking danced so hard. I went home, and my mom asked me why I jumped in the pool with my clothes. It was just, my jeans were like drenched. You could squeeze them out. Bro, I was just, it was so new, this like Skrillex.
And that was a sold out show. That was the best show, man.
Yeah.
That show was when I was like, whatever this is. And then Porter Robinson came back a couple of months, and I had filmed them at Cobra. Like, Porter Robinson's
Cobra.
and yeah.
Holy shit.
They used to be 29.
And then Nicky
29.
Romero came, Swedish House Mafia. Vici came back a year later.
Swedish House Mafia came?
Oh yeah.
You know what's
all
so funny?
individually too.
Yeah, because London was still bringing down like artists. Like even so, I wasn't in to these parties, but I was on the other side of the spectrum where we had Wiz Khalifa, we had Sean Paul, like
Oh, dude! At the same time, Black Eyed Peas at Phoenix, and like Sean Paul, bro. It was the same. That was happening at the exact same time. Yeah.
So damn, that's crazy.
Like, what happened to the music scene? I feel like it's slowed down.
Well, it was the
so
same thing
much.
as like theaters. It just kind of like got too open ended. Everyone's connected now. There wasn't like a niche to it. Like you would just show up and I don't know.
No, you know what I think? What I think happened is back in the day, artists were still making money on people buying records.
Yeah.
Right. So when they did shows, it was more like the way we do like festivals and shit. Let's just get our our name out there so people buy our record.
Yeah, Spotify was not around yet.
So they made their money off of records. Now it's flipped. The only way that artists can make like big money is these big like stadium tours and like big shows. So that's why like the Blink-182s are coming back and charging like fucking $400 a ticket for nosebleeds because that's how they're making their money.
And the guys at the bottom too are just asking for way too much.
There's no incentive to do a club anymore because you know like you're not making any money on the record.
Yeah, the C-list guys are starting at like 10 grand for like C-list guys. I mean, you guys at Premiere, you guys were doing some parties where you were bringing some like good B-listers to clubs, and I don't know if you guys were getting a discount or whatnot, but they had the advantage because they could fit maybe like 800 people into Frog between back house and the main rooms and the upstairs and then the patio too. Like it makes sense, you know. But for other venues where your capacity is like 250, 300, it's not worth it.
That's true.
But yeah, like artists don't make money on the records anymore, right? They make money on doing shows. So that's why your ticket prices for shows are like way higher, right?
It's
and they won't
streaming and it's merch and it's like the physical attention. Like who's gonna show up and buy a ticket? I guess, right? So it was a different time in that sense too. But at the same time, it was wild.
Mind you,
to
like
see.
has anybody gone to a stadium show like recently? They're fucking crazy.
I did see Blink like when they like earlier this year in Toronto. It was insane. But I was also like, again, nostalgia injection. I'm like, I understand your lyrics now that I'm older. Like on top of the melody. Dude, that was when I was like, oh wow.
You were a kid and you had no idea what you were even listening to.
I'm in grade 7 singing about 5 breakups. I don't even know myself.
My brother, he like walked in the room. He's like listening. He is older than me, 7 years. So he
gets it.
He gets it. But he sees me, a little like 12-year-old kid, listening to like this emo music with like crazy lyrics. He's like, "Are you good, dude? Do you even know what's saying?" I'm like, "I don't listen to the words. I just like the song. Like I like how it sounds to me, right?"
That's the beauty of art, man. You connect at like whatever level you're at, and then like it just sticks with you forever.
Yeah.
Labatt Center had this artist named Lil TJ.
Did you just say Labatt Center?
Yeah, what's the best? You mean
Budweiser Gardens?
Oh, yeah.
I forget. Is that what they used to be called?
I know, back in the day. JLC, John Labatt Center. Yeah, true.
They had an artist. He's a hip hop artist. His name's Lil TJ. And they thought he was going to be able to fill, believe it's a third of the stadium. And he couldn't fill that. to which they should have probably done it at music hall, right? But it's unfortunate that they lost their money in that sense. But it's hard figuring out what an actual artist can, like the numbers that they can do versus like what your personal, like just because you might feel like you like Lil TJ might make you think that, okay, yeah, sure, if I invited, I don't know, 5,000 people,
I have no
they
idea
would
who
come.
Lil TJ is.
Yeah, it's the younger kids, and that's pretty much what it was. It was like underagers that came to the concert, and it wasn't enough, right? Not enough alcohol sales because they're all young. You know what I mean? And it's like just all kinds of factors.
Was it like
to
the next little Bow Wow or something?
No, he's like.
When was this?
This was probably 2 months ago.
Oh yeah, recent.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
okay.
had the after party at Vice and whatnot.
Yo, you remember when Lil Bow Wow came out? He crushed it.
Of course.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Basketball's a banger, bro.
Yeah,
Good times.
but yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. I love it.
Bro, I'm going to go see Burna Boy at Rogers Center. I feel like he's one of those stadium guys now. I feel like he's established
Bro,
himself.
hip hop still has its own elitist,
Yeah.
like you go, like those are stadium, like so many artists.
Yeah.
That's like one genre that is like top, I would say.
Yeah.
And you got your Taylor Swift, sure.
Yeah.
You got your Bieber, but like hip hop, you got some multiple, and now too.
Country though.
Yeah.
Country's getting up there.
Country's been up there. It's just more niche still, I think. Like it's big. Actually, no, it's more mainstream probably. But like, you know what I mean?
But like Posty, like Post Malone can do like stadium shows.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's not country though. He's hip hop, obviously.
No, he's not hip hop.
He's got a little tang in him. He's got a little.
rock.
Yeah. He's from Texas, right? He's like
But he's got his own vibe. Like he's just like he's an artist.
he's an artist.
He's an artist. He's an artist, and you can see it in his music, right? And even in his music videos, he's an artist.
Yeah.
Right. And there's a lot of him that comes out of it.
Those are the artists that I personally like. When you call yourself an artist, that's when you're the most present, you're most authentic, and you can like that's like a Kanye. Like he's doing so much because he's identifying.
Don't get canceled now.
Yeah. I'm wearing a Yeezy smile too. So I gotta be careful here.
Do
but
people
like,
still hate on Kanye?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
really?
never did. That's the thing. I just never like every season there'd be a hate on Kanye.
Yeah.
George Bush hates black people. Like, but that's like okay, hate on him. It's like I'm gonna let you finish. Like okay, but it's like the same seasons of culture is the same.
For real.
I think that was the benefit of like understanding what I love at a young age of like being an artist and like being an observer versus a reactionary person. Like I didn't find myself in a clique. I always would be in multiple, and I would never. And then like I'd learn very quickly like this clique hated that clique, and I'd be like, why? But I'd be interested, like, but I would never judge. And then I realized like just every year there's like a new thing to be more reactive about.
Yeah.
But then that just takes so much like emotional energy and distraction from like who we are.
Yeah.
And I don't know, that's something very bougie, but
No, it's true, man. Like sometimes, like I noticed that too, because I've probably gone to like a total of like 16 schools in my life. So it's like just
Did you say
I hopped
16?
around too, but that's a lot.
yeah.
I've done like 6, I think was mine.
Yeah.
He kept getting kicked out.
No. But like just from just moving around. So like I
true.
hung out with like different groups, and like groupthink is a real thing, and you don't notice. I started noticing it after I went to a couple of schools. You start to notice that there's normally like maybe somebody that'll like set a trend and then everybody follows, or maybe something's current and it's happening. Like for example, like COVID, like that changed everybody. Like I just shut the hell up about my thoughts about it, and I just watched everybody at like, for example, my work. This is because we were UPS, we were still delivering, and I just watched everyone's opinion just start to kind of become uniform.
And social media doesn't help with that either.
Segregation.
Everyone's complying.
Yeah, it's like you're here or you're here. There's no more of this.
So we started pretty tame talking about Kanye.
Now we're
fucking
going,
like
yeah.
talking COVID and like, what the fuck is next? We are going to Palestine. And
Oh yeah. I mean, it's gonna keep getting. Yeah, it's all connect. I mean, I don't know.
But I don't know. The further we're going in the future, it's starting to be like, is it wrong to think your own way?
no, of course not. No, of course not.
See, but even saying right, it's like it's almost I have to ask myself that and be like, wait, is it wrong to be myself? It's like, but here's the kicker: most people don't know who they are, but they claim they do, and that's what culture is used to seeing and monetizing on. Because it's easy to manipulate someone who's like, this is me, this is my trend, and then they just keep flopping and flipping, and it's like, but then you as a viewer are like kind of confused because you're like, but then again, that's also human. Like I don't care how elite or not you are, you might change overnight because of whatever reasons, but being reactive to that, that's on me, right?
And your experiences are like very much based by like your surroundings too, right? So
100%.
like if tomorrow you were to hop on a plane and go live in Tibet for 6 months, you best believe you're going to come back with a completely different frame of mind and a different mindset on like life and outlook, right? Just because like it's a different way of living out there, and like you're going to learn new perspectives, and you're not going to have access to Wi-Fi or whatever, right? So, you know, we are framed by the boxes we get placed into. You know, like we've got societal pressures, we've got family pressures, we've got you know, pressures from our spouse or people that are close to us that like want us to succeed, right? So there's all these different pressures that tend to limit your creativity and limit what, you know, what your natural kind of expression should be, because you're trying to conform to all these different, you know, things that are putting pressure on you, right?
Facts.
And it's really, really difficult to peel those layers back and really know who you are, right? Because you might like peel one layer back and say, hey, I feel like I know who I am, but you also have these other three pressures that you haven't peeled back, right? And to really be able to take that step back and say, I really have a solid handle on who I am, where I want to go, and have that purpose and presenteeism is a very difficult thing.
Life is very fair, though. I feel that, though, some of us, like, I like to feel like I was a person that discovered who I was pretty later on in life, because maybe I was anyways, that's not important. What's important is that I think whatever cards you get dealt with, some people maybe say like yourself may have discovered yourself at a very younger age.
I would argue that we probably, arguably, none of us really know yet, right? We're
No
all,
one really knows.
Yeah, we're all in a process of self-discovery as we're
Every
going
day,
on,
it's
right?
new.
Every day,
It's
you're
just
learning
like you
something
have
new,
a, if you have a value system or like some sort of compass, that's your guide. It's not like I figured it out today, now I'm good for the rest of my life. It's like, because tomorrow you're gonna have a new challenge with a new climate, and it's gonna be like, this is not what I'm used to. Left is right, right is left, up is down. It's like, whoa, I didn't expect that.
Like look at you, right? Like, I'm sure you had like a pretty solid focus, and then all of a sudden life threw you an Achilles tear.
Oh yeah, fair.
Which that's a physical change, but then also it forced you to kind of reevaluate, I'm sure, things in your life, right? Like, okay, what's really important, right?
Definitely.
Like, is it, you know, delivering for UPS? Is it doing DJ? Is it my relationships and the people that I have in my life? Who gave me a call when I was in those situations?
This guy did over here.
Right? So, but like, you know, you're going to have things that happen, those like key points in your life where they force you to kind of reevaluate. And then those are like discovery points, I would say. But you're never going to fully figure it out.
It's
right?
again, process over destination, like journey over destination. Like yourself is never gonna reach a destination that you're good.
This is going to be our last episode, 100%. This has to be.
Really? Wow.
Season
This
one
is the
closer?
best. Yeah, has to be. This is the best.
Deep.
No offense
Have you
to
ever
anybody.
What's that?
have you ever had a profound experience that like kind of made you rethink
Like a
certain
life
things?
experience that really like. Yeah. Like I mean, just growing up, man. Like my parents split when I was young, and like my mom, she like immigrated from Canada first of all, and she got married here, and then she got divorced, and she got cancer, and then she survived it, and like she was just like this vessel of faith in a way of like just that was her fuel no matter what was happening, and I think that just like subconsciously gave me this like confidence to just do something that when it was in my gut I had to do, which I'm still doing. Like I'm unapologetically doing what I love, even though it's like you're not doing this enough, you're not getting this enough, you're not. It's like I don't care. I
At least
feel it
you're
in my
doing
soul.
Yeah.
and I
a lot of people
love it.
don't act upon
They're
those desires,
yeah,
right?
or they keep it for after 9 o'clock, or they keep it for after like for like a vacation, and it's like stop. Like I don't know. This is me being like passionate about being an artist. It's like just the day you admit to yourself that the things you love doing are worth pursuing, everything starts changing versus like, well, it's not monetized. Well, I have a family. Well, I have this illness. I have this handicap. It's like, cool. So what? Like I challenge you back. Like you don't have that. You have this though. You don't have this yet, but you have a lot of like. There's always a reason to do something authentic and creative.
Yeah.
And ironically, man, I don't know about you guys, but like I always tell people like, what did you do for the first 2-3 years of your life? 4 years, 5 years? Everyone's like, what? I'm like, you played, you drew, you played dress up, you were present.
Yes.
You didn't like worry about this. And then you started socializing, and then you started having friends, and you got hurt by a friend, you got beat up, you got bullied, and then your parents react a certain way. And then now you're getting all these little layers on top of you. You're an authentic little human being. Now you're not because of our culture, our religion, our family, our climate.
It's all these little boxes that you play.
And then you're told like, oh, no, come here, sit here. And you're like, oh, but I kind of was like, nope, you do this. Okay. And then you go to school and boop, boop, boop. And then it's like going back to your thing about like, can you authentically be yourself, or like, can you actually do but again, it takes trial and error.
Yeah.
It really does. And then you inevitably hit a point where you've done the trial and error enough and you realize like, wait, I can make the decision for myself.
Yeah.
And then it's like, but then that day is the first day of the rest of your life. Cause like now you're like on that level of, I don't care what the culture says. I'm my own culture.
Yeah.
And then ironically, those are the people that shape culture. I don't know. It's just a pattern I've seen.
Have fun, play. Like so many
Be
people
playful,
take seriously
man.
and
Yeah.
just like stay within boundaries.
Well, like you said earlier about like on social media, there's all these like 10 steps on how to get your business. Like everyone's doing it because it's attached to money, which is attached to control, which is run by fear. The opposite is faith. Let go.
Yeah.
Be present. But that's like, wait, whoa. Yeah, but. Right? Think of it like this. If you want to be healthy, eat whole foods. Yeah. Go for walks. Get sun. Drink water. Get sleep. Yeah, but there's a medication. There's a drug. There's a this. There's a that. It's like, yeah, but just do this.
There's a great quote that, and I don't know who quoted it. I wish I did know, that I think really kind of captures what you're saying. It's every person has 2 lives, and the second one begins when they realize they only have one.
Yeah.
dude, it's wild when I look at the clock sometimes or calendar and I'm like, how has it been a month?
Oh,
How
dude.
is time
Especially
flying?
after COVID, like I feel like that was like a great reset in a way where everyone's now like I'm looking at the time and I'm like, it's 2024 almost.
Dude,
Huh?
COVID almost started 4 years
Bro,
ago.
we're in the roaring 20s again.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like 100 years. Everything
Good time to
happens.
start a bar business.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Hey, come on.
There's a YouTuber that I like to listen to. He sometimes summarizes. He talks a lot about finance, but he will also just dive into books just about like just personal well-being. And one of the books that he reviewed was from a hospice doctor. So he interviews people that are on their deathbed, and he reflects with them on their life and talks to them, and he just talks in the book like you'd be surprised what these people bring up, you know, when he does this thing called a life review, and he asks them like, what are you genuinely proud of in your life, you know, and he has various like patients, some who are rich, and none of them will actually bring up the money. It's more experiences or accomplishments with their kids that they bring up, or just things that are really wholesome. And it just made me think, because like I've always like, as of late, the last 5 years, I've been like, finance, you know, but then it's like, it's not what it's all about. Money's a tool, you know, and the sooner you start looking at it like that and not viewing it as like this thing that you got to chase, you know what I mean?
Facts.
It just comes to you in abundance, because now you're no longer necessarily hungry for it. What you're hungry for is maybe the things that it could provide for your family. Like if you want to give your family an experience like the Rockies, like you said, you know what I mean? Or take them, like I want to go to like BC where those fucking 1,000-year-old trees are, where you can't even hug them. I'd love to just go to that forest and just be like, man, this is an experience, you know, because once you leave there, you're not the same person, you know?
We should make a documentary and document his journey to go hug that tree.
Sign me up. Let's do it. We'll collab on that one.
The closing scene is just like him, like.
And then it's you in the distance with a tear. Just cuts.
And be like, we made this happen for him.
Yeah. Bro, you said it, but then you know the crazy thing is the thought of going all the way across the country to BC, it's like, I need money for that. Sure, yes, but figure out, like, I'm a travel hacker. I'm going to Los Angeles next week for like $100 one way because I do it all the time because I know how to, because I don't fly Toronto, I fly Detroit. There's one, there you go. There's a travel tip. Fly within the country you want to travel, it's cheaper. Number one, done. What's your excuse now? Well, I don't know where to say it. Well, there's a million things, right? So like money, like you said, man, money is not, you don't need money to nourish you. No. Money is a byproduct of human control. Yes. It has nothing to do with being human. Yeah. Like human is like, you need, like I said, water, food, nourishment, sleep. That's it. Like you want to do the biological thing and like continue life. That's called procreation. That's another thing, sure. But it's all part of the same. Like animals just have the answers. Nature has the answers. Yeah. This is my hippie mode right now. But it's the truth, bro. Like I can't unsee the truth. Like you wake up to a sunrise, you go to bed at the sunset. When I try to push that, I don't sleep as well. Circadian rhythm. It's like, man, I was built for something, and it's simple. But I'm human, so I think, oh, well, I'm gonna play God. Like I'm in control. Like, like a salad's good, but like, have you tried pasta? Yeah. Sure, okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like we always push the goalposts, and then we wonder why we're so depressed, so stimulated, why everyone's fighting, why everyone's segregated. It's like, because we've dialed it so far forward when we're not there. We're here. Yeah. Like that I can't unsee that. And it's the same thing every decade, every year. Just with technology, it just becomes more accessible and harder hitting. So now instead of like turning on the news in grandpa's room on the full screen, thing, it's like on your phone, it's on notifications. It's like, can you believe what just happened 5 seconds ago? Yeah. And now everyone's like, that's the weapon right there, bro. Yeah. That's World War III. Just open your phone.
So exponential now, right? In terms of like how quickly things are evolving. So, when you think of like the 50s and the 60s, and like a lot of the boomers will make this argument. It'd be like, oh, we had the same concerns when we were that age. But like, it's like, but you saw like one big leap every 10 years. Yeah. We see one big leap like every year. In technology.
Dude, I literally brought VR goggles with me today. It's not even VR, it's augmented reality. Like it scans a room and like zombies will literally break through that window and come out.
Oh, for real? That's how good it's gotten.
It's insane.
Damn. Oh, that's next level.
You don't even need a computer. It's all in the goggles.
That's
you don't
like
need sensors.
Technology went like this, and then it did this, and it's doing this. Like it's like curving beyond a curve.
If I put VR goggles and a zombie broke through my window,
we'll do it after this.
You'd literally see me shit my pants.
Yeah. Oh, bro, it's the worst when you do it at midnight and you're by yourself.
But I do it every night at midnight by myself.
Paul's used to doing it at midnight by himself.
Hey, 2023. You don't have to leave your couch for anything, apparently. That's what I'm challenging people. Like, go outside.
Once in a while.
Did the VR goggles come with another accessory?
Bro, I'm telling you, man. Everything's going in that direction. It's just already you get your Uber Eats and your fleshlight delivered to your door. Like, I'm sorry, that's what's happening. Like that's what it is. You don't even have to move. The Uber guy will like plug you into it. That like it's gonna happen. Like why? It's like I've seen up. Yeah. Who did you order today? It's like whatever you selected in the app. Like, are you kidding? Yeah. That's where we're at, right?
That sounds like a package and a half. VR headset, Uber Eats, and a fleshlight.
Yeah. This was. I didn't order this. You did. Yeah. You definitely did order this.
Yeah, you definitely did order
this. But like, man, I don't know. It's just like we're in this.
Do you guys remember? There was one thing that happened. You might remember. I don't know if you were in the GTA at this time, but there was something that happened in the GTA that just rocked everybody. It was the blackout.
Oh. Bro, that was we had it here too, but like GTA would have hit
everybody.
The Rogers blackout for like a day, or you're talking way back. The
electricity.
Oh, that one was crazy.
I forgot about the Rogers blackout too.
No, but I was playing in the streets with a flash. I remember that. Everything went blackout in Ontario for almost like a day.
Ontario or GTA?
Ontario.
Wait, what?
Most of Southwest Ontario to GTA. Yeah, power grid.
So I remember this. I was in grade 9. I was in grade 10 because I was in
Yeah, I was in
London.
like grade 8 or
I was
something.
in grade 10. I was taking a nap, and my mom is like known to like over exaggerate.
Sounds like a mom.
Right? So she like burst into my room, and like I was taking a nap, so like everything, all the lights were off, and she's like, the world went dark or some shit. And I was like, okay, mom. I was like, can I keep sleeping now? And then like I got up and I was like, oh shit. I was like, fuck, everything's like off. But I thought it was like one of those glitches. Yeah. But yeah, no, sure enough, fucking like half of like the world, actually the whole East Coast.
Yeah.
Just blackout. And I think it was a couple of days too, no?
No, it felt like a couple of days. I feel like it was a day at least, but that's a long time. Like thinking now, that's like wait a minute. Because then the Rogers was the more recent, which was just like Wi-Fi down for everybody, but everyone was losing their minds.
Yo, you doing the audio on this podcast kind of suck because everybody's talking.
Everybody's talking together.
Oh, true.
I made rule. I'm like, guys, don't talk over each other. Just like try to give space in between talking.
Definitely
I've been
did not-
trying,
We
but
didn't adhere to this one.
Yeah, you're too
I
excited.
totally get it. No, I totally get it.
Conversation's too good.
Just let him do the editing.
Hey, I'll pass this on. Hey, you want this to go?
It's
out?
funny because I completely know exactly. Like I feel I'm like
Yeah.
But you'll get some good moments.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Sick boys. What's next?
I've got another question for you. So, being involved in more higher profile events, has there been anybody that you were really excited to meet that you just started to rub shoulders with, where you're just like, wow, that person was not what I expected, either good or bad?
I think that's just like a general consensus of like celebrity culture. Like I got to, film all these events in London and meet Avicii and like Sebastian Ingrosso and Nicky Romero and like these big DJs. And I'm just like, man, these are just kids that are literally like it sounds fancy. Like, I met Leo. He's just a guy. It's like, well, he is just a guy. And I think like, because I was in that scene so early of like meeting celebrities or famous people, when I started meeting more, I was just like, oh yeah, there's a very like similar pattern here. It's like they're either guided by their ego or they're just guided by something bigger. And I realized the something bigger thing was very rare and the ego was everywhere. And it was just like everyone was like, oh, it's like, I'm like, you show into a room and everyone is hounding you for something, which I actually feel the exhaustion from just being on the sidelines. I'm like, damn, like you're getting hounded for a photo every 5 seconds. It's like, I don't know. The human in me is like sympathizing.
It's kind of creepy when you see it happen.
Of course.
And you're like, yo, like people completely turn into like zombies. Like, I need to talk to you.
You know
And
what?
it's like,
What's crazy?
but
Yeah.
just be normal.
Yeah, but and I think people who are disconnected from their own authenticity and like their own actual like what am I trying to say?
There's a term for this.
There's a term, yeah. Like for example, I always go back to the analogy of like there's Taylor Swift on a stage and there's a stadium of sold out screaming, crying girls. Why is that? Michael Jackson. Why is that? I'm like, that's an artist. And then, or Drake even, like, why is that? I'm like, they're all like, when you listen to their album, like Drake dropped his new album and I'm like, this is like, he's still singing about some girl who's like
This
20.
guy's hurt, yeah.
He's a little
He's
bit,
hurt.
but then I'm like, wait, how many like cool, tough guys are being that vulnerable day to day on dates or like in life? And I'm like, none of them. They're flexing too hard. And then like, but then I'm like, wait, how do you get like a good relationship? You're vulnerable. Oh, okay. But then like, what if I add like a flair to that and I put it into a song? I was like, well, that's attractive. So the artists are just vulnerable humans that are open to being vulnerable to everybody, like a podcast. Like, I'm just going to say it like it is. That's why podcasts, bro, are booming right now because people crave this. It's tribal versus like Vines, which are cool too in their own way, or TikToks or whatever. It's like micro doses of stimulation versus like people who are still like, oh, I'll watch TikTok all day for 5 seconds are still watching a Joe Rogan podcast for 5 hours because someone cool is on there. Yeah. But people do that every day. That just shows me what humans crave. It's like, man, we want connection. And this is the most authentic connection. It's just us, a couple of dudes talking. Right? So I always see the artist as the gateway to truth. And then the issue is though, it's like when you're art versus algorithm's like the sun and art's like this little moon that like fires into the algorithm and then everyone starts mimicking it, which is cool. But then like you can get consumed so quickly into like a black hole, right? And that's what happens to artists. They get consumed by the system and the culture and then it just happens. And yeah, I don't know.
And it's like hard to go back from that.
Oh, well, especially when you're like, I mean, we're human, man. Like you get offered $1 million overnight when last night you were broke as hell. Like, but you have to whatever, And it's like, damn, like I don't know. Like everyone has willpower, but when you're in that industry, when you're getting free stuff all the time, like I said, I've been blessed to be behind the scenes of these like DJs, artists, actors, whoever, and like seeing how people treat them and what they get. And a part of me is just like okay, like come on, bro, like take all the photos and take all the free stuff. And the other part of me is like, man, I'm exhausted just being around this. Like I don't know how you feel.
I feel bad for them, frankly. Like most
It's a curse, right? It's like the curse of beauty. It's like there's so much attention that you're just drowning in.
Yeah. Like
something.
I always said, like I would much rather be this like business mogul that like has all these private enterprises that aren't public on the stock exchange, but I'm super, super wealthy and I'm not recognizable, right? Like I would much rather that than...
Which is rare, though. A lot of people want the attention.
Yeah.
It's like a drug.
But then it's a drug. It's validation, right? It's like, oh, like it's literally when you upload a photo of yourself that you kind of look good on, and then a bunch of people like it and comment, and you're like, ooh, like everyone's done it, guy and girl. Girls do it more often because it's more socially accepted to just upload a selfie. But when you see the reality of that, it's kind of sad because it's like, I need that hit. Boom. It's a Monday afternoon for no apparent reason. I'm just on a couch. And then now, like, but then I can't unsee that truth. I'm not judging. I'm just saying, like, if you see me uploading selfies, like, call me because I'm probably, I don't know. I might need a hug. Like, I just need a little, I don't know. Unless there's a purpose. I'm like, yo, I'm with the boys. Like, let's go. We're on the podcast. I don't know. I'm calling people. I don't know. But I'm calling myself, like, I've been there. I'm just saying, like, I get it.
I like what you said about, like, most of it being driven by the ego and very few of it being that thing. What is it? Is it just...
So let's focus on the positive though. So who have you been around that you said, holy smokes, they are focused on kind of the bigger picture, the vision, the mission, and that's inspiring. So who has inspired you?
Yeah. Like in general, people I've met.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
or
I've been inspired by like all the people I've worked with to some degree. When it comes to this like deeper seated kind of thing, I feel like I had to find this out on my own from getting these little ingredients from them, like worth ethic, like just seeing how people like, especially the DJ culture, like these were like 19-year-old DJs that were just constantly creating music before there was a platform to just like pump out like all this stuff. They just would keep making stuff. And that just showed me, that was like a little like, okay, that's cool. That's, then there's the other side of it where people would be like really focus on their own time. Like they'd be like, I'm off the grid. I have an hour today. If you miss that hour, that's on you. And I'd be like, damn, that's like kind of intense. But then like I'd see it and then I'd see how happy and healthy they are. So I just started like observing people. I've always been an observer. I just like,
it's in your instinct in a way. You have to observe to even do your job,
Yeah.
Like a good artist takes in what's around them and makes the best of it.
And that's being present. Like if I'm not present,
yeah.
I don't care what you guys are doing because I'm focused on this or that or like the next thing I'm doing this. Like then I'm missing reality. Yeah. But then when I dial back, it's my time, it's my reality. It's like sure, but that's not reality. If I blink, I miss. Like, but if I'm present, I'm focused on like one thing at a time, and I can get a lot from that. So I realized like being a fly on the wall was such a blessing because I got to kind of get a taste of the chaos and the wildness and like the parties and the people and the mingling and the ego and then all that. But then at the same time, I was on the sideline, so I never got like what you said. It's better to be kind of like I'm doing this business thing, but no one knows my name, and I will confidently say like. I mean, it's complicated having a name Chris Evans, and I'm in the film industry. But no one knows my name, and I'm like, or if they do, it's like whatever. But I'm very happy that I'm on the other side of the camera. Yeah. Except today. This is weird. But you know what I mean? So I don't know if that really answers, but like
it does. No,
I'm just inspired by everyone in different ways, whether they even know they're inspiring me or not.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people who try to inspire people, they do it with intent. It's like the same thing. It's like, here's my...
It's like, how much of it do I believe?
Yeah. Well, then it's like, if I have to sell it, I just truly believe, like, honestly, to my core, everything that's good is accessible to everybody. Yeah. Everything that's sinister is secret. Yeah. I always, you just feel the energy shift in the room when it's like, you want to know? Let's go. It's like, what, why?
Yeah.
Like, this is free because it's just the truth. But like, if I take the truth and try to bottle it and sell it to you, that's sinister, or it's intentional. In the worst case is it's sinister. That means is like you're doing it for some darker reasons. But like the simple human case is I just want to control it. Like I have an idea of something. Like it's like, bro, it's like when with video stuff, you know, when you come up with a cool transition or an idea or an edit, you don't want to like tell people because it's like they're gonna.
You get that feeling, but I love being like I already did it. Share it if other people want to use it. And the biggest artists on for them.
Exactly, and the biggest people on Instagram right now or social media that are like doing cool, unique, niche visual things, they just did it, and then everyone copied them. Like TikTok algorithm. The reason TikTok's the biggest platform is it gives you an opportunity. It's authentic, like meaning like whatever you're looking at, it not only gives you what you want, it starts feeding you things you think you want. So it's like I'm watching guys on a podcast talking, but there's a beers, but subconsciously I didn't see the beers. But then the next TikTok is like a beer, people having beer, and I'm like,
okay, Facebook's definitely also listening to the conversations. Like if we just say like,
yeah.
I want a dildo. We're all getting dildo ads tonight. People are going to question what the hell's going on. Your wife's going to be on your phone searching. She's going to be like, what have you been searching? And it's like...
It was that guest.
Dude, that shit happens all the time. It's like you're talking about something and it shows up, and that's not a coincidence.
What is this VR flashlight combo pack?
Yeah, that's literally going to come up.
Discount, 50% off. Black Friday sale.
Dude, Wish.com is the worst for that.
For flashlights?
For just the weirdest shit popping up.
Oh, this one has teeth.
Just trying to order it.
I said no teeth.
Do you think there's like a darker side to things?
Yeah. I believe in light and dark, yin and yang. So if there's light, there's dark. If there's yin, there's yang. If there's good, there's sinister. Like that's just the pattern of nature. So inevitably, it could be Illuminati, could be aliens, but it also just could be like, wait, we're that. I could equally be Jesus Christ or I could be Hitler. Yeah. I think people's biggest battle is coming to terms with that reality. Because they're like, no, I'm not. I would never associate with a Nazi or Hitler. Yeah. But Jesus is cool, or vice versa. Like, oh, screw that guy. I'd rather do whatever. But it's like, imagine. That's why I like podcasts, because it's like, it's real. Yeah. Like, and then the best podcasts are the most controversial because it's centrist in the sense like, why was that guy on here? Why was she on it? Why was he? It's like, well, this is a conversation.
Yeah, you're not creating an echo chamber of people that are like-minded that are just going to like reaffirm your
A lot of people do that though, because it's part of the agenda that they have for whatever reason. And that's fine. Like you want to have your boys club podcast, do it. You want to have your girls club podcast, do it. But like, don't lie to yourselves. If you're just trying to have a conversation and you invite X person and they have a different opinion, how are you gonna cut that out? It's like, maybe. I don't know.
No, we're going to keep it because it's important to hear all
some real shit here, folks.
The only thing we'll cut out is the Kanye stuff. No.
You gotta like Photoshop out this. It's not Yeezy. It's not a Yeezy sweater. It's Yeezy Gap.
So the question I had that was more kind of general, and I was thinking about this coming into the podcast, and I thought it would be a good question to ask because I was like, it is a huge challenge as newcomers into the events industry. So think back to your time when you were doing weddings, right? Because that's really the time frame that I'm describing, and you're still trying to establish yourself as like a strong videographer in the industry here in London. Same with DJ, same with me as a mobile bar. And one of the things that I always get really paranoid about is what happens if I get really sick, like leading up to an event. Like how am I going to cover myself? Because I know that at this stage in the game, what I bring to the table is a lot of the kind of instrumental pieces of the puzzle. So, how have you guys dealt with that challenge?
I've never called in sick.
I know.
Neither have I.
No, I know. And that's like kind of a mini paranoia, right? Like where you're just like,
have you ever been sick on like a tour or something? When
I got ground zero COVID on a like BMW commercial. Like I felt the symptoms of like my body's falling apart for some reason. And
get one more shot.
We were all like, well, I was like lucky it wasn't my shoot. I was like a second shooter on it, but I was like leaning over and I'm like, I think I'm gonna pass out. And it was just because I was so tired, but I didn't understand why I was tired. But I mean, that was more of a recent example, specifically in a production.
But I think it's a relevant example where you're like, like when people have spent money to like say, hey, we're doing a fucking BMW shoot today, like you're like, you got that pressure, you're like, I gotta show up, right? Like I've been called in for this.
Yeah, it's like I can't get the first kiss, I have a cold. It's like, well, but like I think that's why I'm now maybe pursuing more of the collaborative, because like you're speaking in terms of like, I've never called in sick. Okay, but where's your backup when you're on the field and you break your ankle on the sport? Like every good story has a village or a team behind it. Every good human has a village, parents, not one. Or and one is possible, by the way. Yeah. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying like I just can't. I see the need for collaboration.
How'd you find your team?
So I again, it comes down to this. Like, it's just like authenticity, number one. Like, why are we in it? Because we're like, I don't need to tell you I do cool stuff. I have to keep reminding people on my social media that I do cool stuff. It's like, I don't actually think that, because I'm like, all I'm doing is like, I'm a cool videographer, right? And then I get a couple likes and feel like, okay, I am cool. Like, I know I do cool shit. I love what I do. I'm a fan. Like I said, day one, I love this, bro. We get to use cameras and get $1 for it. Are you kidding? Like, what the hell am I complaining about in life? Like, honestly, I'm living my best life. Like, but that's a perspective that I've like nurtured. It took time. I'm in my 30s, and maybe it took me up until now to do that, but it took that time. And now I'm just like dialed in. I'm like, no, like this is it, man. Like, I'm good. Everything else is a bonus. Like, if my health is okay. And so going back to your question, like, bro, health is my number one. I'm 90% my health and then 10% everything else in life. Like, I have to. That means that water comment, sleep comment, go for walks comment, like work out, like make sure my mom's checking on my mom. Like you gotta have some sort of, that's actually someone else, but like before you can take
that's
care
your
of
mental health too.
Bro, it's all connected.
Right,
it's all connected.
Because mental health and wellness is all connected to your physical.
Yes, yeah. The body is your temple, right? It's like you gotta nurture that, and it's all connected. So it's just because I'm like going to the gym every day, bro. I go to the gym, the most depressed, unhealthy people are there. But I also go for a walk, and the most healthy people are on a walk in some random trail that I like ran by themselves. I'm like, that's interesting, because it's honestly, it is a mental thing. Like, you have to have the right perspective and purpose for you to succeed in whatever you're doing. It doesn't have to be art, but it inevitably is art, because art is creation. And I strongly believe we were created to create. So the more we're aligned with that truth, it's like, you can't lose, because that's just the truth.
It's so cool that you get to like create something and it's out there.
It's out there
for a very long time, possibly forever.
Well, inevitably forever, like really.
Yeah. I think that's one of the cool things about what we're doing here. And like at the end of every single podcast that we've done, and I'm sure this one will be no different, we always end it, we're like, that was so fucking awesome. Like, that was like a great conversation. And like we're so charged up by it.
That's why we do it.
Yeah, that's why we
right?
do it. At the end of the day, we're not doing it for any other reason. It's really like because like we're creating a great connection with our guests that are coming on, and like we're hearing their cool stories. And, you know, even if we take away like one quote that you kind of shared with us, or like one perspective.
I think we got like 5.
Yeah.
If you got 5.
At least, like maybe 5 or 6. Yeah. But even if we take one little kind of nugget away, then like for us as hosts, that's a win. But then hopefully for anybody that's listening in, we're creating wins for them too, right? And so that's really the purpose of this podcast.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, like, even, and I would even say like the purpose of a podcast is a conversation, and the purpose of a conversation is authentic, like, connection. And the purpose of authentic connection is just like human on human interaction. Like, but everything between that I can fill with intention, or like, you know, I need you to hit that. Hey, just like turn the can and like, just say that line about how you like Keith's more than blue. And I'm like, yeah. So like in the industry, we drink this more than the other. Like, then it's like, you know, and you've seen those, and it's fine, whatever, you got to pay the bills, but just don't make it weird, in my opinion. Just own up to it. You know, I'm just here to have a good time and have a good conversation. This has been awesome. So like, tell me more or whatever. If we're done, we're done. I don't know, but
No, we're not. I want to hear like, what's one of the most exciting projects you worked on? You worked on a lot of cool shit.
Oh, wow. In general, I think it was just the shift out of the like the routine. And this is like a challenge to like every industry, because like every industry is like routine, because routine is control. But like for me, like music videos have been like just a blessing to do, because there's no right or wrong way to do it. And a lot of the videos I'm getting offered to do are like more narrative.
And did you go in kind of saying, we got to do it this way? So many things are like so abstract, but I want to like include some
In
kind
a
of
way,
storyline.
like I'll be honest, like Loud Luxury, like that was my first music video opportunity.
Which song?
Body,
Body.
which is
How
a
many
big
views
song.
does that have?
How he casually says that too.
Like
that was a
it's
big
one of the
song.
most it's like the top 300 and something most streamed songs of all
I'm
time.
can I Google this?
You can Google it. The YouTube video, that thing blew up like pretty organically, and then the song blew up. From my understanding of like what I remember, I'm sure someone will correct me, but that whole experience was organic. It was my friends that went to Western that I was not even working with before I was working with them. They're just like the homies backstage, and I was filming the event, and then they're backstage and they're DJing, and like, bro, we were all in
I
that.
was DJing. I was opening for Joe to Pace all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. We and like that just kind of escalated to like a bigger thing because they just were consistent and they got a really good management backing that just really helped push them to where they're at. And then they're in LA. The next thing you know, and I'm going to LA all the time, and I'm like, hey, let's make a video, and I'm connecting all the dots of like my Canadian friends to be involved in it. And I'm like, wait, I can direct this? Like, this is the first time I've done that. And I'm like giving my friend a camera, and he's like my cinematographer, and it was just like, whoa, what is happening here? Like, it was just cool, right? And I think just from that moment on, quite literally, I started doing like a lot more music videos, but then also just I felt that like freedom of creative like validation for myself, and then by someone else or a label or an artist being like, here's money, here's a platform for you to create. And that was just, again, the bonus. Like, it was cool. And because it's a music video, it's someone else's art that you're taking and you're turning into another form of art, which was kind of a cool, it was like a double, like it's a you know, an adoption thing where it's like, here's like a baby that I've made, but we're going to raise it together. And that was always unique. That's why I'm in a season now of like, I want to make my own. I want to create my own stuff. That's like from my, like from this kind of conversation onto fruition, right? Because I've exercised enough. Now I want to do the marathon.
By the way, Body has 250 million views on YouTube.
Quarter billion.
That's insane.
That's pretty wild. Yeah. Yeah.
Well done, man.
Good on you. I mean, I'm sure that was a big role of the success as well.
I love like Brando, man. We became close, like, and
He's a singer on the song.
yeah. He's I could say a really good friend, and like so much happened from that for all of us. I mean, like, look at the guys; they're killing it.
So are you Western alumni too?
Fanshawe alumni. I'm the sneaky Western kid. So there's the thing. I'm Funshaw, man. I'd be like, I'm like living at home, like doing my like film studies major, and then running after class to catch a bus to then go charge my camera to then run to the Premiere Life event. That was a Western like party. Yeah. And I was like the guy doing it, but I was like the Fanshawe kid making Western look cool, even though it was already cool.
How much did Fanshawe actually help you in your career?
You know what? You said it earlier about like how you YouTube and like, that was like the starting days of YouTube. I remember getting up for an 8 a.m. class and my prof would just put on a YouTube video about like editing. And I was just like, okay, like this is, again, YouTube just came out, which it was cool, but I was just like, why am I writing about movies? Like, I'm writing theses, and it was cool. But then I looked at like the time, then I looked at the paycheck, and I'm like, and at the same time, I was doing wedding videos. Mm-hmm. So I was one of the only kids, if not the only kid in my class, that was like working in the industry while going to school. So I already had that itch. So I was like more excited to get out of class to go edit a video at home. Yeah. And they're like to charge up the camera to do that at Premiere Life event or that EDM festival. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of where I was at. If that makes sense. Like I just always had that, like I was doing it. And the craziest thing, man, that is the action forward versus the thought forward or the word. It's like just doing it. Yeah. Hear it all the time, but it's like, damn, okay.
There's so many. I feel like I know a handful of photographers or video people that came out of Fanshawe. Yeah. But they just don't do anything with it. Because you got to be like motivated to the point where you got to go out and do it yourself.
This would be a whole other podcast if I get into the education system and stuff. But like, it's like art is accessible to every human. Tools are now accessible to every human. Before it cost an arm and a leg to get a paintbrush back in the 1500s, I'm sure. Like I don't think it was accessible to everyone as a luxury. Yeah. Now, you want to be a photographer? You already are. Like you already are. You took a photo last night or today, or you took whatever. you know?
Did they give you a business class at all? Did you have like
No, because I didn't go to business school.
right?
So
no, but I mean
yeah.
like part of the photography or
You would think.
video
No, it's the
production
most
course,
important
it should
thing.
have like yeah.
But then it's like now you're
Do they expect you to get hired by like some crazy production company out of school?
well,
That's
because
a really great point.
that's a good point.
Yeah.
Like what else do you do?
If they
Obviously,
told
you
you all
gotta
the
be
answers,
freelance,
man,
It's like almost not like if you want to go even further, right? Like every high school student probably needs like a budgeting class and like a class on like
Yes.
Okay, let's not go down that road.
credit cards work.
Because we're gonna.
I'm just saying, though, right? You know what
I know.
mean, right?
Yeah,
like
there's
how
a
to
lot
live
missing,
life,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
how to pay taxes, why you pay taxes. Like instead, we're kind of thrown into again. It just makes me think. I'm like, this is like too conveniently inconvenient. Like,
Yeah, it was done on purpose. Like we all know that now.
I don't know. I don't know.
It was.
It's
done
a-
on purpose.
it's
Let's not get canceled
It's not-
on our last episode.
I'm gonna get banned from the internet. I never expected this. But like, I don't know. It's just like, yeah, you go back to like the arts, man. Like what we're doing, it's when you do it, it's a feeling, and then when you trust that feeling, it gets better, and you exercise it as a muscle. Versus
Yeah,
like,
that's exactly
I
what it
pay
is.
X amount to go here for X amount of days and years to get X paper to then show. Bro, the point of school was to show a piece of paper saying, I did this, give me a job. Now everyone has 5 side hustles, and they're actually really good at 2 of them that are better than the other 50 people that went to that school to pay for that side hustle. And I'm like,
Do you think entrepreneurship is a form of art?
yes, it's creating. It producing, man, that's why I love business. That's why I'm involved in different businesses and like even my own. And I'm like, it's producing, directing, it's all tied in with the same idea of like teamwork and collaboration. And like it's the same language.
Leadership, directing.
Leadership,
like a role.
yeah. Like a director is just like you're the captain of the ship. You're the head chef. Like, why are you making that dish? Well, he probably has a lot of reasons why he's making that dish, and that's kind of cool. And I'm going to that restaurant because that guy's kind of cool, but it also tastes really good, right? And it's like you have that again collaborative. Like you can't do that on your own. You really can't. You can, and then I think you hit a point where it's like, I want to.
That's entrepreneurship,
Yes.
right? Like you almost have to by nature start alone. And then you realize I can't do this alone, right? Like in order to grow, I need to build a team, and I need to have a good team, and I need to collaborate. That is probably the hardest jump, and that's probably one of the points that we talk about the most on this podcast is moving from, you being the captain of the ship and it being like you and maybe a couple of key people to, okay, now I gotta like expand and give some of the stuff that I do to other people and hand that over and scale your business. That is a really, really difficult jump. And most people that don't make that jump, the ship sinks, right? And, arguably us 3 are we're in that handoff position or close to it anyways, where we have to make those tough choices. So that's why bringing people on that have scaled their businesses, that have moved to that next level is so fruitful for us to understand how you've done that, but then also for a lot of listeners, hopefully, that are in that same position where they're like, hey, I know I need to make the jump. It's so hard. And like, what are some strategies to kind of get there, right?
Facts. That's well said.
Yeah, very, very, very well said. Very well said.
It's the truth though. You need to you got to hit that point of it inevitably, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever had any mentors in your life?
Yeah, I had a mentor in early YouTube days actually that like he was this director in LA and he made these like crazy like office style like well produced skits like early YouTube like early
I remember hearing YouTube for the first time, and
Yeah.
I'm like, YouTube? What
Like Office, not like The Office?
like the quirky kind of like multi-camera like funny. Shout out Timothy Kendall is his name. He's a director out of very successful now. He's like he makes commercials. I feel like every day. He's won Emmys. He's like done Super Bowl commercials. Like, but he made these like fun skits. And I remember just reaching out as a kid in like grade 8, DMing the first DM before it was a thing, and like being like, I love this channel. I love your work. I'm trying to get into this. Like, I reached out, and then this guy sent me like an email of like, great hearing from you. Like he started explaining everything, and I was like, whoa. Yeah. And to this day, like, I'm gonna go see him next week actually, and we became friends. I had never met him for 10 years.
Oh,
and
wow,
I
that's a long
finally,
time.
yeah, dude. It was like grade 8, and then and then I met him in like my early 20s, and so that was like a guy that really dialed me into the industry. and we're still friends. And that was that's like my guy. Also Mike Tompkins, like honestly, like earlier talking about him, like he brought me in and allowed me to just have this, like the opportunities that I now have, and just let me be myself and create without like too much, direction on his end of whatever. So
It's got to be true to you.
yeah, man. So I was just given a chance. Like, and I think in terms of leadership and business or anything, you got to trust the people that you're working with. And like, you also you have to be a servant. You can't be a king in a castle.
I heard a great quote about like people on your team where it said like, if you can't trust that person in your home, then why have them on your team in the first place?
100%.
You know, and I was like, that's really true.
That's a good point.
You know, like, so I get it. When you build a team, it's got to be people that you feel are really solid and just good people. Being the most important quality for them to have or bring to the table.
Do you have a certain team that you always bring back?
I'm noticing I do, yeah. Now more than ever, because like I've done so many different collabs, different cinematographers, and different like even actors or people on camera and stuff. And I'm noticing that certain group of us are just like always drawn to each other no matter the climate. And I always say that. It's like, oh, there's no money, whatever. There's a lot of money, cool. There's this problem, we'll figure it out. Versus like these people that I'll hire, they're like, you don't do it, I don't do that. So I can't afford, I don't have time for that. Or it's okay, cool. Like, but then certain projects gel with certain people, right? And it's pick and choose. Like you kind of just get to the point where, I don't know, man, you got to accept, like you're either a visionary or you're either creating or you're consuming, in my opinion. Like and a lot of people are consuming and not a lot are creating. But ironically, everyone can create. So why are you not creating?
Because people
Especially
don't tap
now.
into it.
They don't, or they just see it as
we were
like
talking about the playground aspect, where it's like people are so blind to their capabilities in a way where it's like, when you said that, it like touched me because I'm like,
Yeah, that was a good one.
I love thinking about my childhood and how like I'd play in my backyard and I'd find a stick and I'd like draw in the dirt or something.
It's my
And I was
lightsaber.
so happy. Yeah, make a lightsaber out of a stick.
Yeah.
And it's like, I realized I lost that playfulness. And now with the video work, I'm like,
You need that.
I'm trying like the craziest things and I don't care about what people, I used to think about like, well, I can't do this. This is like I'm like going over doing some weird things. But I'm like, I don't care. I'll go climb a tree. I'll go like be dumb to bring out a laugh out of them. Like I'll do whatever just have fun with it. Who cares?
So true, man. There's
It's
no
like
wrong
just-
way to do it.
Yeah.
In
So
art,
I
there's
get
no
that.
wrong way. It's your way. Like you can, and then the more you do it, you kind of do make your own little, maybe you make a little niche for yourself, a little flavor. And it's like, oh, that's what Chris does. That's what Paul does or whatever. It's like, that's your niche. But then
But
it's
you
like,
need playfulness to figure out what that is.
One of the hardest questions that I feel like couples ask me is like when they ask me like, hey, so like what are you gonna do for the night, or like how do you? And it's like, man, I can't describe it for you because it's so artsy. Like I have to see the people, I have to feel them, see what they're like.
That's literally gibberish to them though, right? Whereas like for me, it's like,
It's hard to quantify what exactly it is that I'm gonna do for them, but sure, I'll try and put it into words for you. But at the end of the day, it's such a feel thing. You know what I mean? That like, and especially when they have ideas, they're like, okay, we're gonna do the first dance, and you're gonna play ABBA, and then you're gonna play this, and then next you're gonna play this, and everyone's gonna go crazy. And I'm like, sure, I'll do it. But
bro, that's control. That's that control
Yeah.
thing. Like
Yes.
they're like, I'm paying you X.
Yeah.
This is you're a server for me for this. I'm
Yeah.
paying you, and it's gonna go this way.
Yeah.
And guess what happens when it doesn't go that way?
yeah,
They freak the hell out.
Yeah.
And now it's your fault. Worst
Yeah.
case, it's your fault.
But guess
right?
what happens when it goes the other way? So I'll give you a good example. My business partner is really good at this.
Yeah.
so
are you talking about Kat?
no, Roberto.
Oh, okay. I was
So,
like,
yeah,
that's a
no.
strange way to refer to your wife.
no, Roberto's a great guy.
No,
Great
so,
guy.
so Roberto is my other business partner. He's Hispanic, and whenever he hears that Hispanic music that the DJs play, he just can't help himself. He needs to go onto the wedding dance floor, and we are bartenders, right?
I love that.
Yeah,
It's Latino culture, man.
always works, right? Like
Yeah.
he goes right to either like the bride's mom or like the groom's mom, and like I mean, he knows how to dance. He does like the
Yeah.
Mexican dance and shit, right? Or like the Latino dancing, and like it ends
Salsa.
up, yeah, it ends up being like a fucking TikTok or something, and then invariably we'll get like a message from the bride and groom being like, you know, we love that like you guys just were like
Connected with us.
creative, went outside of the bounds of the bar.
That's just being yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Being creative.
Being present. There's music playing. I'm vibing. I like it. There it is.
And what's cool about it is he's out there dancing, and then I'm like, okay, this is an opportunity. So my business brain is like, fucking document, and then like TikTok, Instagram, right? Because I see that, like, I'm like, oh, this is value add because there's a moment here.
It's authenticity.
And we need to capture this authenticity, right? Like,
And you can monetize authenticity, but it's like inevitable. All right?
So I was gonna say, like, for you, like, how do you deal with that? Do you accept all clients, or are you like, maybe I only work with people that allow me to be in control creatively, or you know, like, how's that?
I used to be like quite the yes man, just naturally, just my personality, like, and I learned the hard way of like what that really looked like, and now, like, specifically in the last like year and a bit, I've just really dialed back to like what I want to do, and that meant taking the risk of I'm losing that client with that money, that consistency, that control. But I was like, I have faith it's gonna work out. I was at a low of like, bro, it's always feast or famine in this industry. It's always feast or famine. I don't care if you're making a lot or a little. It's like it's like this. Every other industry is like this. And you can see like 50 steps ahead. And if you do this enough, you'll get there, and one day you'll get there. And that's the promise. That's the most people. Then we have the arts. It's like, boom, it's like, whoa, what's we no? And it's like, no, we're gonna crash. And it's like, can't breathe. And you go up, and it's like, but then like it's exhilarating, man, because there's no right or wrong way. And once you go on that ride, it's like an addiction. And like, I love the uncertainty. So if and then you hear these quotes like all over Instagram too. It's like failure, like learn to fail. It's like learn to fail.
that's how you learn.
It's yin and yang.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I lost money. Cool. I got $1 million. Cool. Like the more you're just unfazed by the highs and lows, that's when you see, again, ironically, the present. The past, oh, this happened to me. Well, I my goals are this. It's like, cool. What about right now? What about right in the next 5 seconds?
What's your proudest mistake or failure? What is
my proudest mistake or failure?
Yeah, that you learned from.
That's a good question. I mean, I've shot music videos that like the artist was just like, this happened like once, and I was like, it just didn't happen. Like they just weren't vibing with it. Maybe that was like a little bit of a disconnect in direction. But I don't know. Biggest failures, man. Like they happen in so many moments and conversations, and like.
No, let's not skirt past that one. So
Which
you
one?
Had
Oh yeah, sure. Let's dial in. Yeah.
You had a moment, and you shot a fucking video, and then the artist
they paid
was
for
like,
it.
Oh, really?
And they paid for it, and then they're like, "No, I'm not feeling it." So like, what did you? How did you get past that? Yeah.
Ironically, we still have a really good friendship, and I just.
But like, did you reshoot the video or like?
No,
what was
it's
the
still
solution?
sitting kind of in limbo of like it exists, but it could be used. In my opinion, I have some ideas. It's just one of those things.
It just never
where
went to production. Like it never went.
It happened, and then it just didn't. It was more of a disconnect of like communication and vision, maybe. When I look at it, it's two visionaries doing this like their own thing for the same. Like we're both describing a can, but it's a different perspective. And then at the end, it's like, wait. So what description are we going with? And it's like, oh well, mine. It's like, well, I think mine was what we agreed on. So no, this is what I wanted it, but well, I did it that way. No, but like it was like a Spider-Man meme. Like, but that just I don't know. I've shifted my perspective of like failure as just like.
So what was your learning from it?
My learning from that specific thing was if you're working with other creatives that have a vision and you sense that, make sure to dial into specifics of that vision.
Yes.
Because most of the time you're the visionary, if not all the time. But sometimes you're going to meet artists, and that's why I love artists. Like especially going back to the music video, it's like, yo, they're that's their baby. And they want to shoot this shot at this low angle with this lighting. And like, even though you don't want that lighting, like just triple check. right? Because like there's collaborating, then there's like, no, like I'm going full Stanley Kubrick on you and I'm doing 50 shots and like I'm not happy with any of them. It's like, okay, well, damn, like you have to know who you're up against, and not up against, up with, right? Because you're creating a piece of content that means something to.
But that's what you're describing as you're learning was know your audience.
Yeah. Yeah. Know your audience, know your client, know your intention. Intention. It's just like, what's the intention here? Is it like, hey, I vibe with you, make a video for me. Here's $100 or $1,000, whatever. It's like, sure, that's all cool. Okay, free creative control. He's like, hey, I need you to do this for me. I need it to be this and that, and this person needs to be at this time, and like, just do your thing though. But like, I need this. Yeah. Then just kind of like figure out what, like, it's push and pull, right?
When I started creating stuff for people, so like graphics or whether it's, I started to notice that I was getting attached to my work. So it was hard for me to detach when someone's like, I don't like it. And I'm like, you mother, you know? But I started to learn that, okay, I'm supposed to serve this person. So I have to, even though I feel like it's great, I got to sit there and just be like, you know, no, I'm not saying that's.
The other side of that, though, is maybe you had the wrong clients. Maybe you should find people where they understand your work, maybe, and they're like,
but you get
I hired you because of that, right?
You get to that point, kind of like, do I say yes or no to clients? It's like, yeah, like now I do because I've done the dance and like I vibe with this type of personality. And again, it's people. There's nothing different about, I don't care what industry you're in, man. Everyone's the same, or they're all like relatively on the same spectrum. Yeah. You got the codependents and narcissists. You got the purpose-driven visionaries. You got the money, you know.
So I have like a weird perspective on this, and this might be a little bit controversial.
I like it.
So like one of my biggest pet peeves, and I think it's fair to say that like we're a group of high-performing individuals in like our fields. One of my biggest pet peeves is when I say, hey, you're a quote-unquote industry in this field. I would like you to do this. I am giving you creative freedom, but then when the product comes back and I'm like, I could probably do this using Canva, or I could probably do this on my own because like I've got my own set of capabilities. No way. Right? Where like that's like the most frustrating like thing for me. Yeah. And I don't know if that's like my like perfectionist side to myself where like I just have really high standards. But like if something comes like really underwhelming, like it comes back and it's super underwhelming, that's like a big pet peeve of mine. It's like,
well, you're also paying for that.
Yeah, I know. Like,
you're
so
trusting
like,
someone else to.
But then I feel like an asshole too, right? Because I'm like, ugh, like, should I have just like done it or what? Right?
But there's also like a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people complain about the end product, but you pay for what you get.
Yes.
So there's a lot of people who try to cut corners and then they're not happy with it. And I'm like, I see it all the time in the wedding industry specifically because there's so many people who are like, I know this one company, photography company that had like 1,500 clients a year or something. It was insane. And they were charging like $800 a wedding. And
that's really cheap, no?
They like obviously outsourced all their shooters and everything. They were basically just like organizers.
They were just farming everything out.
Yeah. And they were a logistics business basically. But like
they were the Amazon of like photography.
Yeah. Amazon does a pretty good job though. I'm not gonna lie. They give free refunds, or refunds at all. But like at that price point, it's like you got a question. It's like, why is it this cheap?
Yes.
And you're obviously taking some kind of risk. Yeah. And this business eventually went out of business, and there were like hundreds of clients. This happened like a year ago. Hundreds of clients that just
didn't get their stuff.
Didn't get their stuff, or last minute cancellation, right? Yeah. Where they didn't have a photographer. And then now they're looking for back, and they're like, our budget's $800. And it's like, you're probably not gonna find somebody, and if you do, but the same thing's gonna happen. It's like
some clients too, I find like are just genuinely good people, so they'll understand and respect your time. Like I get it, like the trend right now is a lot of brides are seeing videos on TikTok and they're like, hey, I want this particular mix. And it's like, okay, one, that's not legal, but sure, I can try and remake that.
Yeah.
But then she's not seeing how much time I'm putting behind the scenes going to find this, maybe, especially with the mashups. Because some mashups, the audio clip might be
particular 10 seconds.
Yeah, and not even that. It might be that like that person maybe has the clean version of that song because maybe they have a direct link to this person. So when I go on Spotify or whatever iTunes, I can't find that clean edit. Like, for example, the song Ski by Sexy Red, there's no clean edit of that. So I have to
Just
go out
drop
there
it, bro.
and
Just
and I
let it
gotta
go
make
hard.
my own edit of Ski, but she's not seeing that I'm doing all that, you know. But for the sake of customer service, I will do that. Should I now start implementing a charge for that?
You should just put it into your base price. Like,
You'll just know the conversation now. So now it's like, because brides or whoever the customer is, they're just excited. They see something, they open their phone, they go, I want that.
Yes.
But they don't know what goes into that.
Yeah.
But that's why they pay you.
Yeah.
So then it's on us to be like, what's my
Yeah.
number or value that makes me feel okay with doing the dance.
Yeah.
But sometimes you don't know until it's like, oh,
Yes.
man, I signed up for this, but now it's this.
Yeah.
It's like revision 10, even though I said I only do 2. And then you're like, do I charge them more? To just let it, like, you gotta pick your poison, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so we ask every buddy that comes on the podcast one question, which is, if you could take all the knowledge and experience you have today and go back to kind of ground zero, day one, and someone hands you 10 grand to say, you need to take this 10 grand and become a success in your industry, how do you invest that money? What do you do with it?
So knowing everything I know,
Yeah.
go back 10 years.
Go back to whatever you would define as like kind of like ground zero, day one.
And then someone says, by the way,
Here's 10 grand. You are in this industry now, and go be successful.
okay. I would jump ahead to the collaboration, and take some of that money and pay other people who are equally talented, if not more talented, to then turn into something bigger than just myself. Because when you start off young and fresh and hungry, you want your name. It's Chris Evans Productions. It's my name, productions, my everything. I shot, edit, direct, me. Because you're doing it out of fear, out of honestly, just out of like kind of youthfulness. Like, you're just fresh on the scene. You want to hold the name, but it's also because you want to have that validation. But then I realized, wait, like, I could have $10,000 for myself, or I could have $1,000. Well, why would you do that? Well, because I spent $9,000 to make this look like a movie. Well, how'd you do it? Well, this is how I did it, right? So I'm now in that mentality of like, oh, cool, I have a $10,000 budget. I might not get $1 for it, but here's the product. And sometimes, okay, cool, here's the product, next. Great, but like, at least for me, I involved these people. I bought this, I rented this vehicle, I hired that actress. It was like, I can now do that. I fed everyone better. Like, seriously, like we went out for dinner versus like pizza. Like, that kind of thing to me I started realizing like, wow, this is way more. This is like, I had so much fun. Again, the process was so fun. And then I forgot, oh guys, we just did this video. Oh, it's on YouTube. Let's watch it. And it's like, yo, and it's like a recap. It's like, remember that? Oh, we did that. Like, I want it to just be almost like a second thought. Like, I want you to, I'm at a point where I'm like, I want to forget that I even did a video, but I had a good time talking with people and having a good time. And oh, by the way, right? Oh, by the way, we made that video. Like, that's where I'm at. Like,
So you would invest in people.
100%.
team.
Like especially with the art. But you have to start with yourself. You really do. But like, I think inevitably you got to like be okay with giving up control, giving up money,
It's a big thing.
giving up. And that money, control, what's that tied to? Ego, power, give it up. If you could throw it in a blender and like get rid of it, would you? I don't know. Most people wouldn't. But you kind of just can't lose when you just focus on the right, like the gut instinct versus like control.
I already think I know the answer to this one. What's your definition of success?
Well, I think in a lot of ways you've answered it throughout this podcast.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean. I think I know, but like,
let's wrap it up. Like, what's your definition of success?
Definition of success, honestly, I would say just is when you're authentically happy with knowing who you are and knowing your talents, and knowing that just because I made not a lot of money, but I had a lot of fun taking care of my family, myself, my health, like that to me is success. Like, I feel so successful. I feel so blessed, even though I haven't directed a Drake video yet, and I'm not like verified on Instagram. Even though I thought I was for a day, and it was just like that new subscription thing. No, because it's like you're now, and I was like, yo, I got verified, and I was like trying to figure out why, but it's like for subscription, I got it, and then I was like, oh no, and then I found it after, and I had it for a month, and I was just like, I'm like, yeah, I'm cool. I was like, no, but like, you know, that's just my definition. I don't know if that answers it, but it's just like, being okay with, it's being okay with knowing that I'm good enough right now.
Yeah.
And just because I have bigger goals and I want to get bigger abs and bigger paychecks and bigger whatever, or better this, it's like, I'm good. If I got hit by a bus tomorrow, I wouldn't regret anything.
Let's not say that.
Never know. It's the bus theory. That's like an editing thing I learned in school. It's called the bus theory. Look it up. It's crazy. It's like literally the whole thing is like, if I got hit by a bus tomorrow, could an editor take my hard drive and edit and finish the video? It's seriously a thing. It's so aggressive. And I'm like, that's kind of true. Yeah. I mean, it is true. I can't unhear that. So I was like, hilarious. So my organizing is key in post-production. So, you know. Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's a great answer, and I think that's a great wrap up to the podcast.
Well done, man.
Yeah.
Great job.
Thanks for having me, boys.
Excellent.
It's fun.
Yes.
Way to wrap it up.
London, Ontario local
Wait,
podcast.
before he goes, plug in how do you, because you spell Chris Evans a little bit different, right? From what I saw.
Yeah, CHRI7Z, Chris Sevens. I know. That's how'd that happen.
And then what's the production house?
Sevens.film on Instagram, but it's like Seven Studio. It would be my production company. Yeah.
You taking resumes?
Sure. Yeah, hell yeah. Just drinks.
Cool. All right, that's a wrap. See you guys later. Adios.
Nice.